Paul, Paul, and claim your Friday First profit boost. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NBA. 21 plus and present in North Carolina. Opt-in required. Max wager amount applies. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including token expiration. See terms for both offers at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
Everywhere you look, things are getting more expensive. So at Consumer Cellular, we're lowering the price for those 50 and up. Now you can get unlimited talk, text, and data for $30 a line when you buy two. That's just $60 a month for two unlimited lines. So if you're 50 and up, make the switch and save. Come on, you've earned this. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com today. Requires 2 lines of service, age validation, and credit approval, subject to system and area limits, taxes, and other fees apply.
Build up to Black Friday with savings all month long at Lowe's. Right now, get up to 35% off select major appliances. Plus, save up to $500 on select LG major appliances. And get holiday inflatables for under $20. Because Lowe's knows deals. Valid 10/24 through 11/5. Applies to select LG major appliances only. Cannot be combined with additional discounts. See Lowe's.com for details and qualifying items. While supplies last.
From the Canes to the Panthers to all of the college sports in the Triangle, we cover it all on the Best of the Drive with Tim Donnelly podcast. Brought to you by Coach Pete at Capital Financial Advisory Group. Visit us at capitalfinancialusa.com.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com.
They score!
WCMC-FM HD1 Holly Springs.
Oh, puts it out in front. The score! Jack Roslovic, no hesitation with the extra attacker, and Carolina jumps out to a 1-0 lead. Oh, drive, they'll score! Svechnikov out in front with the deflection. Gostis Bear on the tape. Svechnikov to the net. 2-1 Carolina with a power play goal. Martinook's going to come up with a steal. He'll get it out in front, and Roslovic buries it. What a play by Martinook. That's going to be his 200th career point, and Roslovic buries another. Carolina up 6-2.
It is the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. That is Victoria. Welcome to your Friday.
Friday!
There you go. Happy day after Halloween. Happy candy hangover.
Yes. Happy first day of Christmas.
It is. It is the Christmas season.
Yes.
We played Hurricanes highlights. We can talk about them, obviously. I do pre and post for the Hurricanes on the radio, and Crabtree, the mall here in the Triangle. There are plenty of malls in the Triangle. You know, we've got South Point, you've got Triangle Town. Is that still a mall? I'm not even sure.
It's something. It's there.
It's kind of a mixed bag.
Mm-hmm.
But Crabtree is the longest standing mall here, and they sponsor the lineups. And even before Halloween, like when the season began, the sponsor read was, "I know you're agonizing over your Halloween costume, but it's really time to go Christmas shopping."
Oh, wow.
Like at the beginning of the season.
Oh,
like,
boy.
okay, it's fine. That's fine. So yesterday was Halloween, and well, that copy's over because everybody's got their costume already.
Mm-hmm.
So we just went full bore straight into we're Christmas shopping, and we've been doing it for 50 years.
Jingle bells.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So, boy, that was something last night. There was a lot of things that were weird last night.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Jets won.
They did,
I didn't watch
despite
it.
their efforts
I didn't
to try
watch
to
it.
lose.
I didn't watch it. Yeah, they did. They tried to actively take points off the board for themselves. Look, it's the Jets. They're going to do that. But again, I am not even going to pretend that I saw a single play other than the highlight. Well, I saw some highlights after the fact.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about that. But
It's okay. I wasted my time watching it for you.
You did?
Yeah.
Good. Well,
I can update you on things.
I was busy.
Yes.
Otherwise,
You had things going on.
watching a
good game.
massacre at Lenovo Center.
And it involved a professional Carolina team, and it wasn't them being murdered.
No. They were look, we've known this for a while now. This is not new. The Carolina Hurricanes know exactly what they are doing. It is one of the absolute constants, not just in local sports here. We have a lot of teams to follow. Think about this. And we could probably, pick out major cities that don't have as much going on. Because if you live in the 919 area code, and I'm going to throw 704 in there too, simply because I realize that you're not where the universities are located, but I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that in Mecklenburg County, in Wilmington, in Asheville, wherever, you're State fans, you're Carolina fans. You might not be Duke fans because it's a private school. I get it. But you're certainly State and Carolina fans. But I'm just going to draw it back to where I'm based. We've got State, Duke, Carolina, football, basketball. Women's basketball, too, especially the three local schools are really good. You've got the Panthers. Yeah. I mean, whether they're good or not, we got fans here. We cover it, we follow it. You've got the Hornets, and I would say that the Hornets are probably more just Charlotte-based. I don't think that, and it's possible that the Hurricanes don't really bleed into Charlotte, right?
Yeah, I could see that.
I think, there's a little bit of, maybe a smattering of, I haven't done a study on this. I should commission a study.
Yeah.
But I don't think we've got a ton of Hornets fans. I don't think we have hives of Hornets fans here. We have some.
No.
Some.
Just the people who like the nostalgia of the old T-shirts. They might wear them for that, but no, you don't see a lot of hardcore Hornets.
I know the person who designed their first uniform.
Nice.
Yeah. Alexander Julian, who does all of North Carolina stuff. He designed the first Hornets uniform. Anyway, of all of the local teams that we cover, all of them, there is only one that is going to look the same all the time, and that's the Hurricanes. They are the true constant in sports in the state of North Carolina. I mean, there's just day in, day out. There are games where they don't play well.
Sure.
Right? There are days where they don't play well.
There's a lot of games in hockey.
Yeah, but they probably play their way. They might not be the better team in every night, but most nights they kind of are because they're good. But they probably play at or near their best way more often. Well, it's definitely way more often than any other team that we follow here. But they do that better than most professional teams. They were a joy to watch last night. We got a lot of stuff to discuss. We're headed to a football weekend. Bryce Young is back on the field. So
is Derek Carr.
Oh, Derek Carr's going to play.
Apparently. I think that was the last I'd heard. He was going to come back this weekend.
I was still hearing that we were going to see Spencer Rattler.
Oh.
I hope we do see Derek Carr.
I know. Well, yeah.
I don't care.
I know. I mean, it's already going to be a bad
He ain't playing
show.
defense, right?
Yeah, he might. Who knows?
Derek Carr's not playing defense. I don't
We've seen crazier.
I'm probably, we know this. I am not like all Panthers fans because I'm not a Panthers fan. I don't care. I mean, for me, the only thing I care about is that offense starts to look representative like an NFL offense, and preferably with Bryce, not Andy. I have low expectations for this weekend. But if Bryce Young plays reasonably well and the Panthers lose the game, as much as it would upset you, Victoria, because you want to see them win,
I do.
I am thinking big picture, and the best way for the Panthers to become good is to have the highest possible pick in the draft.
Mm-hmm.
Whether they use it or they move it, I don't know. But that's what I want from the Panthers. I would love, because the best case scenario for this team, and people don't want to hear this, and I'm not saying it's a likely, likelihood of happening. Best case scenario for this team is that they do realize that, you know what, that kid can be our quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
That's the best case scenario, whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
That is the best case scenario. And if he becomes like a good NFL quarterback, here's the other thing. You might be done with him, and maybe they're done with him, but if he looks like he can play, you can trade him.
Sure, yeah.
Like legit trade him.
He's an asset, yeah.
Right. So that's the best case scenario. He looks like he can do this, and then the Panthers have decisions to make as a result. That's what, and I do not care if they win or not. So if Derek Carr plays, fine, let him play. It shouldn't impact the Panthers on offense. All right. With all of that said, let's begin. Because we are going to start with the juggernaut that are the 7-2 Carolina Hurricanes. By the way, Sunday's game against Washington, low-key banger of a hockey game. Washington is 7-2. I thought Washington was going to be bad last year. They snuck into the back end of the playoffs.
Yeah.
They got swept, but they snuck into the playoffs and, again, didn't give the Rangers much of a fight, but whatever. They set the table for this year. They are a good team. Alex Ovechkin is, I think, 37 goals away from the top goal scoring spot all time.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully he will not get closer on Sunday.
I know. I was going to say.
It will put Carolina's penalty kill to the test, unlike whatever that was last night. We'll talk about that. But so Sunday, 5 o'clock at Lenovo Center should be a really fun hockey game. Two of the best teams, apparently, in the Eastern Conference, the Hurricanes and the Capitals. All right, so Canes 8, Bruins 2. And if I said that was a deceptive score, it would probably get people to think, oh, is the game closer than that score indicated? No! That game could have been easily 12-2.
Mm-hmm.
Boston is awful. I was stunned when I was watching.
It's very un-Boston-like. It's been a while.
Look, their two best players. I can't explain what's ailing David Pastrnak, who does have 6 goals in the season. Brad Marchand is coming back from, I think, 3 surgeries in the offseason. He's also 36.
Mm-hmm.
Neither guy looked threatening to me last night. Like, no moments of threat for either player. Marchand did get the first goal for the Bruins, but that was really an own goal off of the leg of Jacob Slavin. We're going to talk about the whole of the league with John Forsland at the bottom of the hour, so I'm not going to go too much here on the Canes. We'll talk more football. But Boston was awful last night. But part of the reason Boston looked awful to me is because this is becoming very apparent. The Hurricanes get it right now. They are playing the way they are supposed to play. They are getting it from all 4 lines. There was the one sequence of the game that I thought was absolutely critical to the outcome was essentially killing 5.5 minutes of Boston power play, including nearly 2 minutes of 5-on-3 power play time. Now, the Bruins did score during one 5-on-3 sequence, but it really was a puck that was supposed to be a pass from the right faceoff circle back out closer to the blue line, but somehow the pass went off the back of Jacob Slavin's knee and floated into the goal. Like, when it went in, when the referee was pointing to the net, I was like, what just happened? How did Marchand fake a pass and then shoot it? No, it bounced off Slavin's leg and in. That was the goal. Other than that, Boston had 5.5 minutes of boring, bad power play. Hurricanes' penalty kill, on the flip side, I thought was really good. It made Boston's power play bad, but the same way we get mad at the Hurricanes' power play when it looks like rear end, that's what Boston's looked like. But I think part of that was Carolina just doing a great job. But almost 2 minutes of 5-on-3 time, and they didn't threaten. They scored, again, accidentally, but they didn't threaten anything at 5-on-3. Now, the best moment of the game, the best play of the game was Jordan Martinook. You heard it, the highlight of the Martinook steal behind the net. That was the 6th goal. So the game was over by this point. But this is what I loved about the way Carolina played, is that it was a take-no-prisoners game for them. They did not play the Boston team that I watched. They played the Boston team that they felt they needed to be on top of their game to have a chance to win. And when you play with that level of urgency and attention to detail, when you come up against a team that is not equipped to stop you, you just keep going. That goal, Boston had the puck behind their own net. No problem. Mason Lohrei is a good young player. And Jordan Martinook big boyed him. I mean, he bodied him. He just took the puck from him, and he passed it in front to Roslovic. The puck came out of the net as hard as it went into the net. I thought it hit the post. It came out of the net so fast, I thought it hit the post. It hit the back bar. But I really did. I thought it hit the post. That's how fast it came out of the net. Hurricanes won at 8-2. Could have been a whole lot worse. All right, let's get to the fact that the Jets did win a football game last night. Like, I'm not going to use the law of averages theory because I don't believe in law of averages. I don't. Not sure Houston is what everybody wants Houston to be. I think Houston is good. They were also missing 2 of their best wide receivers,
yes.
Right? Nico Collins is hurt. Mm-hmm. Stephon Diggs is out for the year. They haven't yet added to that receiver group. You did get your wish.
I know.
Tank Dell caught a bunch of passes, 126 yards in receiving.
He did.
But the Jets defense played well.
Very well.
They did not look like they were asleep at the wheel.
Yeah, no.
By the way, C.J. Stroud, 11 of 30.
I know.
That's not a lot of completions.
It was an exposure of Stroud.
Yeah.
Sophomore year for Stroud.
But I thought he was the greatest thing we've ever seen.
I know.
I thought
the Panthers missed out.
I was told he was the greatest quarterback we've ever seen.
I know.
What are we doing here?
It's so weird.
I remember the conversations last year. I don't remember who I had those with because none of those people will hit me up.
No.
None of those people will say C.J. Stroud is great. Blah, 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying a lot of things were set up well for him last year. And, by the way, he played great last year.
He did.
But the race ain't over. I think C.J. Stroud is going to be a very good quarterback. I am not knocking him.
Yeah.
He's just not yet going to get into the gold jacket for the Hall of Fame. By the way, the Jets quarterback is going to go into the Hall of Fame. I don't think he's very good now.
No.
But he wasn't bad yesterday.
No.
From the highlights that I watched. Okay, I did not see any of the game. I did watch the highlights, but the defense played well. Garrett Wilson played well.
Saved the day for him multiple times.
2 one-handed catches.
Ridiculous.
The second one-handed catch was, are you joking?
Yes.
Are you kidding?
Break out the Beckham Jr. clip.
I mean, the staying in bounds part of it.
Right, that was a whole thing because was his knee down before his calf was down?
His shin hit first.
Right, yes. Right? And that was the thing that saved it.
And that, yes. I would have assumed that if you get so he had 1 foot down, but he had 1 foot down twice.
Right.
Right? So here's my question. What if you only have 1 foot?
Exactly.
You can never be in bounds.
We did this, I want to say last weekend with the Buccaneers where someone bounced on the same foot twice.
Right.
But that doesn't count as 2 feet.
Do you need 3?
Right.
If you only have 1 foot.
Yeah.
Like without joking, if you have a really badly sprained ankle, catch a ball and then hop
Right.
like 4 times
You wanna
and then
hurt
go
it
out of
more.
bounds, are you in bounds?
If I have a Halloween costume and I have a third foot as a tail, if that touches, does that count?
This is a family show. I can't respond to that at all. I cannot respond to that at all. So anyway, he's inbounds because his shin hit.
Yes.
It was a ridiculous
dumb.
catch. Here's Garrett Wilson on the catch.
Yeah, I mean, I was like, that's a good one there. That's a good one, and it's got to count. I remember saying to all them, I'm like, y'all gassing me up too early. Like, this got to count, y'all. Let's chill. Once it counted, I was like, yeah, all right. Now y'all can tell me whatever.
Did you see Aaron Rodgers' reaction on the sideline?
Oh,
Again,
yeah.
I only saw these on the highlights.
Right, yes.
It's just like, thank you.
I know.
Thank you, ayahuasca.
It took him a whole half to smile.
Here's Rodgers. Was this a sigh of relief as much as anything?
Kind of season on the line there in the second half. Obviously, we wouldn't have been mathematically eliminated, but mentally, to go to 2-7 would have been real tough. Hopefully, it's give us confidence so that we can beat anybody because we feel like we could. You know, the way we played on offense in the second half is the way we've been kind of waiting for this offense to wake up. And I know, obviously, I was close to perfection as I needed to be, but that's a standard I need to play at. We did a lot of good things in the second half. We got to build off of that, but hopefully that kind of lets everybody, like you said, exhale a little bit and now get a little time off and then get a trip to Arizona.
All right, let's see what the Jets can do in Arizona.
Yeah, I have to tell you, I watched that game. Like in the second half that he's talking about,
Right.
he might have felt like they could have beat anyone. You can't. No, you never beat anyone with that. No,
Oh, yeah.
they were super lucky. Things went their way. The Texans missed on like 2 field goals at least.
They know.
They got a second chance in the red zone because of a penalty against the snapper. So they had an extra opportunity to get a touchdown in the red zone.
Nice.
Didn't get it and missed the field goal. Like, there was so many things. Refs, of course, were trying to help. Like, it was wow.
Oh, well.
It was one of those games where I'm like, you know the objective of this game is to score points. Like,
Well,
maybe.
Malachi Corley, is that his name? Number 14 for the Jets.
Right?
They handed him an end around. He rambled 18 yards for an almost touchdown because as he was going into the end zone untouched, he decided, I'm just going to drop the ball here.
I don't want to hold it anymore.
And the ball was coming out of his hand like inside the 1.
Yep.
So, touchback.
Exactly.
Why is this chair broken?
It was beautiful. It was beautiful. I thought, wow, this is so Jetsy right now.
Yeah, that's what the Jets did Jets in the first half.
Yes.
And, like, I have no idea. Did he play in the second half at all? Because it was his only carry. He was not targeted at all as a wide receiver. But he might not be part of their, like, wide receiver, like, we're going to throw you the ball group.
Yeah.
He might just be a special teams player or a gadget guy like that. But if you do that, you no longer play.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You have to leave. I need your card. I need your playbook.
Take your cleats off. You're done.
Everything. I need the helmet. You don't need this anymore because you can't. You would have to be at such a high level on my depth chart for you to play again, for you to not give a damn about what we're trying to do.
Lazard wasn't even playing yesterday, and they still didn't go back to that guy.
Wow.
Like, yeah.
Well, there you go.
Great.
That's all we need to know. All right, the Panthers are home to the Saints on Sunday. Second straight start for Bryce Young. I'm going to go on under this assumption. It's not going to look good.
No.
Okay? That's my assumption going into the game. But here's what I want to see. And you, by the way, Victoria will give us Panthers Pawprint keys to the game.
Yes, for
coming up
success.
in about 30 minutes. A little bit less than 30 minutes. Here's what I want to see from their offense. Try. Like, I'm not saying try to win.
Right.
I mean, that's the whole goal. I get it. I'm not saying that shouldn't be the goal. But if I were Dave Canales, I am not scheming plays trying to win a game. I want you to make the offense look like an NFL offense. If it's incapable of doing that, so be it. Do the things that real NFL professional offenses do. We don't do everything laterally or backwards. We don't make the quarterback get rid of the ball in 0.3 seconds. We play. That means we throw the ball over the middle. That means we throw the ball 10 yards down the field, maybe to the sideline. Sometimes we throw deep. We do all sorts of things. We run fun plays. Let's have an actual NFL offense. Can we play football on Sunday?
That'd be nice.
Like, I don't care what the outcome of the game is.
Mm-hmm.
Brad Idzik, the offensive coordinator for the Panthers, what he thought about Bryce's attempts to get the ball down the field.
He had a couple that were right there, and you know it's a team effort, right? Just trying to hone in on, okay, where could I have kept my speed a little bit more as a wide out, or make the read as clear as possible from a coaching perspective to make sure that we're getting that ball out on time. But I thought he did a good job of driving the ball downfield when we asked him to.
Do you hear what he was saying at the beginning? So my initial read, because I'm assuming he's talking about the Xavier Liggett play, right? My initial read was probably didn't do enough to try.
Right.
Liggett. That was like, I could be wrong here, but I watched that play several times. It wasn't that much overthrown. I'm not saying it was a perfect ball because it wasn't. It was slightly overthrown. But I thought Liggett brought his hands back closer to his body. And at the very least, a diving attempt could have been made. Because I think if you dive for it, that hits you in the hands.
Yeah.
So I was a little disappointed in that. And all they were talking about in the broadcast, by the way, this is what happens when you are where the Panthers are in terms of their status around the league. You get crappy broadcasts.
Yes.
I'm consistently baffled by how the broadcast crews do not pay attention to what we're watching.
At all.
Like you've got, this is what we were going to talk about, so I'm just going to keep talking about this. I mean, at least there was some criticism for Liggett on that play because he just didn't try. Again, if it's overthrown, it's overthrown, but I think he could have tried better. Coach Idzik, what are the things that Bryce can do better?
Yeah, he threw some really good, accurate balls versus tight man match. This is another week where we get a lot of similar coverages. For him, it's just trusting, playing with a platform and being on time. So I think anytime you're trying to rush a throw, and kind of playing from behind with a time clock, then you lose some accuracy. But for him, he was really quick in his progressions last week. So I thought he did a good job getting the ball out on time, which helps him be confident in placing the ball in the right spot.
All right, so it sounds to me like he was great last week.
I know. He was really pleased with what he saw. Wow. Okay. Great meetings. Proud of his guys.
Okay. I can't wait to see this week.
Oh,
I'm so looking forward to it. As I'm looking forward to John Forsland, the voice of hockey, joining us on the other side. Seattle Kraken play-by-play. We just saw them, Canes and Kraken, a few days ago. Also, Monday Night Prime in Canada. That's John Forsland on Amazon in Canada. We will talk to John Forsland about the first month of the season next.
Serving it up hot and fresh every day. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Listen every afternoon for The Drive with Tim Donnelly.
At this point, I think it's obvious. Dave Canales and Bryce Young just don't like each other. They're two guys that don't trust each other. They're forced to work with each other. They didn't pick each other. But when they're forced to be on the field, one calling plays, one being the quarterback, they just don't get along. We all have that coworker. Theirs is pretty important.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 3 to 6 on 99.9 The Fan.
Adam Gold here, and every Friday night, it is Friday night, isn't it? FanDuel is giving all customers a bigger payout on select NBA first bets. You never forget your first, remember that. First bets let you get in on the action from the opening tip, and then you can leave and go out and have a good time. You can bet on things like who's going to score the first basket, what kind of basket that will be, which team will be the first to 15 points, and so on and so on. Best of all, you don't even have to stay to the end. Just look for Friday First in the FanDuel app and find your profit boost. FanDuel.com/AdamGold, FanDuel.com/AdamGold, and claim your Friday First profit boost. 21 and over and present in North Carolina. Opt-in required. Max wager amount applies. Bonuses issued as non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including token expiration. See terms for both offers at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
What is dedication?
My daughter is biological and my son is adopted. I love them both so much. From the morning when you wake up to putting them to bed at night and every moment in between. I think a parent's job is to protect our children, but also prepare them for the world so they become good, kind human beings.
That's dedication. Find out more at fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Kamala backed Biden on everything. She was the deciding vote for his disastrous economic agenda. Kamala and Joe raised taxes on the middle class, and prices soared. Kamala was in charge of his open border policies, giving welfare to illegals while Americans struggle. And their weakness invited wars. Now Kamala wants to double down on failure. It's time to turn the page on Joe and Kamala's failed agenda. President Trump fights for you. His strength kept us safe. Trump cut taxes for families. Prices were lower and the border secure. Now, President Trump can do it again.
And we are going to launch a new golden age of American success for the citizens of every race, religion, color, and creed.
Remember, Kamala broke it. President Trump will fix it.
I'm Donald Trump, candidate for president, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Donald J. Trump for President 2024. Inc.
No two people learn the exact same way. So how did Babbel become the award-winning language learning app? We thought of you, all of you. Take Sierra. As a visual learner, she uses Babbel's wordplay videos.
Today I'll share a quick lesson on shopping in French.
Merci beaucoup. Keith is a be in the room with real people kind of learner, so he loves the live online classes with our language experts.
Okay, class. Vos está pronto.
Estamos prontos.
However you learn, Babbel makes it easy. Try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Stahl, board-certified urologist and senior vice president of men's sexual health at HIMSS. I've helped many guys with ED in my 12 years of practice. But now you can get world-class care for ED 100% online by going to HIMSS.com. So what are you waiting for?
To start your free online visit and find ED treatment at up to 95% off brand name prices, go to hims.com/joy.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
This is Adam Gold.
What, a minute 53 into the game? Heat of the moment?
Right.
What kind of heat of the moment is that? We haven't even gotten to simmer yet.
I know. Did someone flip him off in the parking lot? Like, what are we...
Seriously.
The Adam Gold Show.
Hey, holiday music has started. Oh, I love this song so much. Bob Dylan is so manic.
Oh, yeah.
It's the Adam Gold Show. Welcome to your Friday. The month of October is over. That's the first month of the NHL season. We turn the page to November. There are some surprises, I think, around the league. We might see one of them in Raleigh on Sunday when the Capitals, who are also 7-2, come to visit the Hurricanes. John Forsland, the voice of hockey, the voice of the Seattle Kraken, Monday Prime in Canada, TNT, everywhere. He joins us on the Adam Gold Show. How are you, sir?
I'm great, Adam. Thanks for having me. How you doing?
Doing very well. It was there was some eye-opening things I watched last night. We'll get to that in a little bit. One of them is not surprising. The other one was very surprising to me. If I asked you who was the biggest surprise in the NHL as a team in the month of October, your answer would be?
Oh, boy. Positive story, negative story?
Positive story. The negative story I think I watched yesterday.
Well, the positive story for me will hit everybody in a warm place there because the most impressive team I've seen so far are the Carolina Hurricanes.
Oi.
And I'm surprised. I thought that, like many, that they'd take a step back maybe. long road trip. And I saw a team come in, and we talked about their mindset at the start of the season, you and I, that they had to be a little bit more or less arrogant about how good they are and more workmanlike. And it appears that's what they're getting to. I know the power play carried them again last night, which is good, but they're relentless with their skating game again. They totally dominated the Kraken last weekend. It wasn't even close. So for me, they're off to a really good start. Long way to go, obviously, but you win 7 out of 9 and you do most of that on the road. That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's funny. I talked to Jordan Martinook before last night's game, and I asked him, like last year there was so much continuity. And this year there's a lot of important new faces. And whether we think Jack Roslovic is going to score 55 goals or not, I don't.
Well,
but he's off to obviously a very good start. At Roslovic and Robinson and Carrier and the two new defensemen, Gostisbehere, who has been here for a hot minute, but he's relatively new, and of course Sean Walker. I asked him, why do you think that it has looked the way it's looked? Because last year it took them a good 6 weeks into the season to get into a rhythm playing this way, the way they're supposed to play. He actually said he thinks the new guys help because there's no shortcuts for them, and it maybe rubs off on everybody else.
Yeah, and there's no lingering effects from whatever happened the season before.
Right.
There's no hangover from a bitter disappointment in the playoffs. There's no second-guessing maybe how they're playing. These are guys that have come in, and again, they have to do it over the course of a long season, but they've come in re-energized because they were cast off from their previous places, and they're out to prove things. And in Roslovic's case, he has 6 goals, and he's on a 1-year ticket, and he's writing his own story. To me, Gostisbehere's really been good.
Yeah.
I enjoy watching him play. I know people have criticized, I guess, some of his defensive aspects of his game, but he's a today's player in terms of puck possession. He's a big plus on the power play. That's pretty obvious. But I was impressed with their 5-on-5 game and their dedication to Rod's system and how hard they want to work. And when that team wants to work, because they're prepared by that coach to skate and skate relentlessly, they're hard to play against. Sure, they get a ton of shots and they possess the puck and all these different things, but they might not be overly physical, but it's hard to play that way because you have to be in tip-top shape, but he gets them there. And it's a look at the game last night. I didn't see the game. I've heard about it. But I think the Bruins may be 2 or 3 steps behind the pace that the Hurricanes want to play at right now.
John Forsland is joining us. All right, to the Bruins. I was alarmed.
Yeah.
I've been watching this team now for, closely in terms of their matchups with the Hurricanes, and they've been great games. I've been watching them for now. This is the 7th year of the Rod Brindamore era. I was alarmed at how one-sided it was. I've seen one team dominate the other in a game. I thought last night I think what I saw from Boston was unfixable. They looked slow. I realized that Marchand had surgery in the offseason. They've clearly had some player attrition. Charlie McAvoy was non-existent last night. I didn't even know he was on the ice. To me, he's not even close to their best defenseman. It looks like Hampus Lindholm is probably their best defenseman. But I couldn't believe how slow they looked. I didn't even think Jeremy Swayman played badly. I think he had no chance.
It looked that way, looking at the clips of the game and how the goals were scored and some of the bounces and that. I think with Swayman, it kind of begins with where it was at the start of the season, where they're having a press conference and they're talking about money being thrown around and this player not wanting to work with them, and then a week out or 10 days out before their opener, anointing a number 1 starter. And then they get the deal done, and then he comes back. And that's one position, boy, if you're going to put pressure on yourself as an athlete, and you're a goalie in the National Hockey League, contractually, if that's where the pressure is coming from, and you come back into that room, you got to be really elite to get your footing right away. And, without a camp and all these different things, and he's still a young goalie, that's a lot to put into a compartment for me. So he'll find his game because he's that good. I'm sure it wasn't on him last night. Their best players appear to be either disinterested or way too slow. That's a concern, you know, and there's a lot of finger pointing now at the head coach, who's been looked at as a very good coach over the years. Now not so much, I guess. The Kraken are going in there on Sunday. They play Philadelphia tomorrow. It'll be very interesting. Again, if you can't match the pace of your opponent in today's NHL, you're in trouble. And sometimes, you know, it has nothing to do with their age or their fitness or anything. It's just where their minds are at because they can't think quick enough. And just watching them, and I haven't seen them live yet, so it's a bit unfair. You know, it just looks like that's the way they are. There's some lethargy there that might be mental, but that might be a disconnect between whatever's going on with the coach and the top end of the lineup, because this reverts to your best players, as the cliche goes. Right. And when you're blasting your captain a couple of weeks ago, you know, everybody can see it and everybody says it's okay. I don't know if it's okay. Maybe it is, maybe not. You know, it certainly looks like it's not because they haven't responded since.
Yeah, Marchand said he was fine with it, but he
did.
He could just be
leader.
right.
He's going to say
exactly.
That.
He's just he could be just doing this is what I need to say as the leader of the team. So talk to me about the Washington Capitals, because this is a team I think surprised everybody last year, just getting into the playoffs. I saw them a couple of times last year. I was like, okay, it's not great, but it's not you know, horrible. Spencer Carberry's a good young coach. That looks like Ovechkin is kind of rejuvenated. He's got 5 goals in the early going, but I think they've got more depth and speed than I recalled them having. They're off to a great start too at 7-2.
They are, and you know, Chychrun didn't play last night, Jeff Chychrun, and he might be okay for the weekend. It seems like it's a day-to-day situation. They haven't played without Matt Roy, who they signed from Los Angeles to help out their D. They replenished their defense, which is really important. And I think Spencer Carberry is an excellent coach. I think he proved that last year. He's doing it again. He did so in the minor leagues. He was an excellent assistant at this level. Smart, you know, in vogue with the way the game needs to be played today. And he's jump-started a team that played slow to get them to play a little bit quicker. The goaltending is a 1-2 punch with Lindgren and Logan Thompson. Right. It's good. It can be way above average at times, but it's capable goaltending. You know, as I did my forecasting before the season in August, to go through team by team, this Washington team kept sneaking up on me. And I had them rated pretty high, and I was like, it can't be. You know, it can't be. But I thought they would push, you know, teams in the Metro. I thought Philly would respond and be better, and they haven't. So, you know, Washington's one of those teams that are coming in with a lot of confidence. They seem to have more balance. Some of their younger players are better. And they've had an excellent system, you know, as an organization over the years with some winning in the American Hockey League. So I think the pieces are coming together for this team. This will be a statement game for them to play the Hurricanes, because they're gonna look at the Hurricanes and say, we got to meet that, can we? And as far as the Hurricanes are concerned, it's a statement for them to say, okay, let's keep these guys down where we think they belong. So it'll be an interesting game.
No, I'm looking forward to Sunday afternoon. I haven't yet seen them live, but the Florida Panthers look to me to be exactly who we saw in June. Mm-hmm. Just an incredibly difficult team to play against with their physicality and their speed. And maybe it wasn't a fluke that Sam Reinhart scored all the goals last year. He's doing the same thing.
You know what? They say about Sam that puck follows him, you know, and when they say that about a player, they used to say that about the great one back in the day. Right. It's because they're that smart, and they know where to go to anticipate where the puck might be, and then it gets there, and then they have the talent to score. He's an excellent player. He's not just a goal scorer. He plays in all 3 zones. He kills penalties. He's worth the money they re-signed him for. You know, they get an injury to Sasha Barkov, and they survive it, and they survive it in a pretty good way.
Yeah.
That's hard to do. You know, you take out your number 1 center, your leader, a guy that plays heavy in all facets of the game, and he's a championship caliber player now. How do you get through that? Some teams don't. This team did. They kept their heads above water, way above water, really. And I think it's just, they know how they're going to play. They lost Matthew Tkachuk for a period of time with an illness for about 10 days, and they survived that too. They just know their identity, and that's the trick in the NHL. If you have team identity, you're good. And if you don't, you think you do, or you're masking it, and it appears for a segment, and it goes away for a segment, you're really not real. Florida's proving to be real. They really are, and that's from the goal out.
How much of it is also you've known Paul Maurice a long time. He's always been a good coach. Especially here, fan base never liked him, but that's fine. You could always not like a coach who doesn't score, doesn't produce enough goals on the ice for you, even though Maurice took them to the Stanley Cup Finals one year and to the Eastern Conference Finals another year, just a few years after they won the Stanley Cup. But he has grown into kind of like his fit as a coach. He's finally been able to, I don't know if relax is the right word. Maybe he's not relaxed. What is the role that Maurice plays in all of this?
I think he's comfortable in his own skin. And, this has taken a while. I'm with you on this, because we've all looked at him for a long time, going way back when, and questioned some things and wondered about it and heard what the fans have said, especially, in that market. But I can tell you this. I'm with it. I'm with it all because I'm one of those too. But I can tell you this. Every player that I've talked to from whatever generation it has been has nothing but great things to say about him. So that to me is the proof. And that goes all the way back to Hartford when he may have been too young to get the job in the first place.
Right.
It goes to Raleigh round one where, the team is moving in flux and he had to manage a lot of outside distractions and coach a team. They still made the playoffs in one of those years.
Yeah.
And then 2.0 when he came back and took over for Laviolette. And, he and Ron Francis got the ship pointed back in the right direction. A lot of that had to do with Cam Ward, but it was still a good run for him. And then, there was Toronto where, he kind of put him – the team wasn't very good. The market's tough, and then he moves around and he's finally in a place where he can be himself and use his wisdom and have a team react. And it took him a full season to get the Panthers. Right. We forget how when he first took over, how they had to squeak into the playoffs. They weren't very good that year. But then they matched it last season. Of course, they win the Stanley Cup. So I think maybe he's vindicating his own career. Maybe that's a way to look at it. Maybe he's realizing, you know what, I can actually do this.
Yeah.
And I think he has a tremendous amount of confidence, but I also think he's been put in a lot of different situations. Winnipeg was a great spot for him. He really proved he could coach there. And, just his voice just ran out of time like it does for most of the coaches.
John Forsland, you're the best. I appreciate your time. You're in Ottawa tomorrow. Then you head to Boston?
Yeah, we're in Ottawa. We were in Toronto last night, and when you come to Ottawa and you have an off day, it lasts about a week. So
that's just a trip to the arena.
Tomorrow night at 7, and then Boston on Sunday. Then I'm going to Edmonton for Prime on Monday.
Oh man, you're busy. You're the best. Good. I appreciate your time. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, Adam. Thank you.
John Forsland here, voice of the Seattle Kraken, voice of hockey. Monday night hockey in Canada on Prime. It's awesome. All right, Panthers fans, buckle up. Victoria has your keys to a second win. I think maybe next.
Going beyond the box scores. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Adam Gold here from my friends at FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. And every Friday night, FanDuel is giving all customers a bigger payout on select NBA first bets. First bets like who's going to score the first basket, which team will be the first 15 points, so much more. Best of all, you don't have to wait the whole game to see if you win. You're not going to be around all night. You got other things to do. You might be able to win in the first 10 minutes. Friday firsts in the FanDuel app to find your profit boost. FanDuel.com/AGS. Claim your Friday first profit boost today. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NBA. 21 and over and present in North Carolina. Opt-in required. Max wager amount applies. Bonuses issued as non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including token expiration. See terms for both offers at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
The North Carolina Healthcare Association invites you to listen to this month's podcast, Conversations on the State of Healthcare. This month, we are diving into a topic that is important to so many of us, the health insurance open enrollment period. In our latest episode, produced in partnership with the North Carolina Healthcare Association, we speak with Megan Brohl, a consultant with the Marsh McLennan Agency, an NCHA partner providing business employee health and benefits, and a graduate of Coastal Carolina University. She explains some of the things to consider when opting in for insurance coverage.
Really looking at the information, comparing the plans, not just the premiums, but what's the coverage, and making that best decision for you, your family, what's going to be best in the future if you have things that are coming up, and really considering all factors when you're looking at your coverage.
You can learn more and join our latest conversation on the state of healthcare wherever you find your favorite podcasts, and learn more by visiting nchealthcare.org.
As fall championships begin, the Governor's Highway Safety Program would like to remind you to buckle your seatbelt when traveling home from today's events. Whether you're driving out of town or across town this holiday season, wearing a seatbelt is your best defense against injury or death in a crash. During the busiest time of travel, prioritize your safety and buckle up. Every seat, every time. And remember, click it or ticket. It's the law. This message brought to you by the North Carolina High School Athletic Association and the Governor's Highway Safety Program.
Did you know Atlantic hurricane season runs through November? From gathering necessary supplies to planning an evacuation route, now is the time to make sure you and your family are prepared. And if a storm damages our electric system, local public power providers are ready to respond and restore power quickly and safely. As a public power customer, you benefit from having an electricity provider that restores power faster than other providers do. Visit electricities.com for storm preparation tips and resources.
My name's Kate Roper, and I live in Leicester, North Carolina. In September of 2023, I had a tumor removed from my left ear, and I just enrolled in NC Medicaid. It was just such a relief knowing that now that I'm covered by NC Medicaid, I don't have to worry about how I'm going to pay for medical treatment now. It's probably saving my life.
See if you qualify at medicaid.nc.gov.
Psst. Hello there. It's me, your internal clock. Yes, the one you sleep through on weekends. You've probably heard my TikToks, but I'm straight up sounding the bell now. It's almost time to start applying for college. That means you got transcripts to gather, letters of rec to request, and campus tours to schedule. But hey, we've got time, and we've got CFNC. CFNC.org can help us plan, apply, and pay for college. We got this, trust me. Just visit CFNC.org to help us stay on time.
This is Adam Gold.
We don't need Al Roker in a suit doing yoga.
No.
And Al, to his credit, recognized that and said, you know what? I am not getting into Warrior 2.
I'm stopping at Downward Dog.
There will be no, he didn't get to that. Like, heck no.
The Adam Gold Show.
There you go. It's Christmas music. It's the holidays. We have skipped over. Thanksgiving is not even a thing.
Right.
It's just dinner.
That turkey? What is that?
Just dinner. There's a bunch of football games on. You get a 4-day weekend, but it's dinner. That's all it is. We don't care. Right to Christmas, and then we're going to start Christmas shopping, and then in January.
I know.
That's what we're going to do. All right, we set aside time every Friday. Normally we do one-timers, but here Victoria gives us our Panthers Pawprint, Keys to Victory. I love the music.
It's very intense. Probably more intense than anything we'll see on the field, but we'll give it a try. So, reoccurring theme, disclaimer. Make sure that success is self-interpreted. So, First of all, Derek Carr is officially coming back after 3 weeks out because of an oblique injury.
Good. I don't want to see Spencer Rattler tear up the Panthers defense.
Exactly.
At least it'll be a real quarterback who does it.
I know. It sounds like he should be the new Steve Irwin. I don't know why the Rattler guy. Anyway.
Steve Irwin, R.I.P. Pour one out for Steve Irwin.
I know, exactly. You Stingrays. So, first of all, I guess you should probably expose David Carr and put pressure on him to see if he's ready to be back on the field. So,
how would they do that?
I mean, yeah, well, we'd have to get some defense guys on there. But, hey, maybe it'll happen. It might be a Christmas miracle. Second, let's keep the Saints off of the field. The Panthers need to limit the Saints' time of possession, as the Saints have won the time of possession category in 5 of their last 6 times. So there's that.
6 times against Carolina, or 6 games overall?
6 games overall.
Right.
So
yeah, it's not helping them win, though.
Yeah.
So maybe you want to give them the ball.
Maybe,
although, of course,
but it's
that was
with
without Derek Carr.
Yeah, it's a different story. He makes stuff happen sometimes. And defend against the Saints offense. So they're going to have these guys like Kamar and Chris Olave, but do your best to keep them covered.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, who knows what we're going to see on Sunday.
Yeah. Alvin Kamara is pretty, still a special. He's like Christian McCaffrey light, only he's playing.
I know.
I think we'll probably see McCaffrey come back soon, not next week, but the week after. I think they were talking about after the 49ers bye week. So if they're off this week, then maybe next week if you're a CMC fan.
They need him. That's for sure.
I'm just going to tack on one thing because what I mentioned earlier.
Ayahuasca.
Sorry. Yeah, exactly. I just want to see them try to look like a functional offense. Like, I'm not talking, yes, I want you to run the ball. I absolutely want to run the ball. This is the last game before the trade deadline. I don't think that I don't think they're willing to trade anybody who would bring them anything on the trade market. I really don't. Like, the only player of value I believe they could move right now would be J.C. Horn. And I don't believe they're willing to do that. So there's nobody else that's going to bring them anything noticeable. They got nothing for Deontay Johnson. Literally nothing for Deontay Johnson. I mean, theoretically, they could trade Adam Thielen, but they're not going to get significantly more than what they got for Deontay Johnson. So I just want to see you try. Try to look like a real offense. When we come back, a very big week for the local football teams. Next.
Going beyond the box scores. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
It's officially November now, so it's the start of a new month and a start of a new weekend full of sports. I'm Victoria Vodnecker here for BetMGM, and we saw the Jets break a 5-game losing streak at home last night to kick off Week 9 in the NFL. This weekend also carries plenty of division rivalries, like the Panthers versus the Saints on Sunday. We're also getting closer to those college football playoff predictions, so teams are starting to feel the pressure. And the UFC is heading to Edmonton for what should be a card full of possibilities when making those weekend wagers. Because when you use the BetMGM app, you'll see those betting options like betting the money line, prop bets, live bets, same-game parlays that make things extra spicy, and BetMGM also throws out fun daily promotions for day of games. All brought to you by BetMGM, the sportsbook born in Vegas. Download the app today and please gamble responsibly. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 plus only, North Carolina only. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
Pack Therapy is in session thanks to First Horizon Bank. It's Tim Donnelly from 99.9 The Fan alongside legendary Wolfpack play caller Mike Glennon.
Every episode of Pack Therapy is your chance to get dialed in with inside information on your team.
We'll set you up for every Wolfpack game all season long.
And we'll break down every contest, what went right and what could have worked better.
Plus, special guests to keep Wolfpack hope alive.
Follow and subscribe to Pack Therapy wherever you discover your favorite podcasts or watch on YouTube.
$5, that's a deal, yeah. McDonald's money, I got McDonald's money. this, can I get to? Hot and spicy patty, the McNuggets so crisp, and the fries go to yellow, yeah, McDonald's don't miss, yeah. On the app or the drive-thru quick, yeah. $5, that's some deal, yeah. I got McDonald's money.
At participating McDonald's.
Military veterans and active duty service members, you could become a certified cyber warrior with just 12 weeks of training at My Computer Career. Cybersecurity specialists are in high demand, and IT pros with these skills often enjoy abundant opportunity and a great lifestyle. Protect our people, liberty, and treasured institutions from cyber threats. GI Bill, SkillBridge, and other VA benefits are available to those who qualify. Learn more at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP. That's mycomputercareer.edu/CWP.
Hi, it's Jonathan Cotton, and people often ask me, what is the Good Feet store? A shoe store? I respond, we are an art support store. Haven't you spent enough time trying different shoes and all the disposable products that are supposed to make your feet feel better? Go to goodfeet.com to make your appointment today.
Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Stahl, board-certified urologist and senior vice president of men's sexual health at HIMSS. I've helped many guys with ED in my 12 years of practice. But now you can get world-class care for ED 100% online by going to hims.com. So what are you waiting for?
To start your free online visit and find ED treatment at up to 95% off brand name prices, go to hims.com/joy.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Point. Hey, you okay? You don't normally miss those shots.
I just haven't been as regular lately, and it's making me feel sluggish.
You should try Metamucil. It's been a game changer for me. Metamucil's plant-based psyllium fiber helps trap and remove the waste that weighs you down. Ace, you're moving better than you were last week.
Definitely.
Metamucil keeps you moving. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Learn more at metamucil.com.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com.
WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on radio, web, app, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Calandria in the shotgun again, gets the snap with 35. Looking to throw back to the left, nothing there. The pass, it's intercepted. Jabari Ritchie steps through a tackle. The big man's at the 40. Go Ritchie. He's at the 50. It's a big pick. Go Ritchie. Ritchie's at the 20. It's a big pick six. The big man takes it to the house.
A thick pick six. Jones Angel and Tar Heel Radio Network. North Carolina from their win at Virginia this past weekend. Can they make it 2 in a row at Florida State? Mac Brown's never beaten Florida State? I mean, there's a lot of teams that have never beaten Florida State.
This is the year to do it,
right.
Mac.
Well, actually, I should say, I think UNC has beaten Florida State, but just not with Mac Brown as the head coach. Duke had never beaten Florida State until a couple of weeks ago. And they won the game. I don't think Duke was super impressive in winning the game. We're just missing something from Duke's offense. They should be a little bit better offensively than they are. Malik Murphy at times throws wildly inaccurately. That's going to have to change. And the running game is good, but it's good to a point. It was good against North Carolina. Because, UNC is many times allergic to tackling. It's a terrible allergy to have as a football team.
It is.
Right, but
scoring and tackling.
At times, North Carolina can be afraid to tackle. Anyway, we have a lot of college football. We're going to talk hoops with Brian Geisinger coming up in about almost 20 minutes. The season starts on Monday.
It's crazy.
Like everybody's in action on Monday. And then the real games, Duke, State, and Carolina all have bona fide dynamite non-conference games this year. Everybody plays Kansas. I didn't know the Jayhawks were playing in the ACC this year.
Oh.
Like all three triangle schools have a game with Kansas. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Because Kansas, I believe, is preseason number 1. I haven't paid a ton of attention to the rest of the poll. I know that we only have 2 ACC teams ranked. They are Duke and UNC, 7th and 9th respectively. We'll talk to Brian Geisinger about all three local schools, as well as we'll work Wake Forest in, because he is as good as anybody on this earth at telling us about ball. All right, before we do that, it's time to talk a little football. We got a big weekend coming up. This is our second look, stuff we didn't really have time for in the first hour. So let's start with the Wolfpack, and they were off last week. So there was no official, hey, we only have CJ Bailey now, because remember, Grayson McCall announced his retirement from football. So with all of that, Dave Doran has now handed the keys to CJ Bailey.
You know, he's got a childish enthusiasm about just being out on a field with a ball, and at the same time, he's got a professional competitive spirit. Like, he plays hard, and he wants his guys around him to play hard, and he's not afraid to call a guy out there. Like, you got to go full speed right here, man. I need a better picture of that play. And he gives that, and so it's natural. You know, he's not a nervous guy. He just goes out and plays. He loves playing. He's been competing in this sport against good people a long time. As a guy that played on offense in college, I would have loved to have played football with him. I mean, just being in the huddle with a guy like that, that's what you want, as a teammate.
That's a lot of that's a lot of praise from Dave Doran. That's not an editorial comment. You don't hear that a ton. At least in terms of, there was nothing about his physical attributes there. There was nothing, he throws a great ball, he's got great instincts to run. That was all about leadership. That's impressive. So, CJ Bailey's got an incredible future as a quarterback in college. We don't know about what happens next. There's still a lot of developing over the next couple of years. And again, I mentioned this, I guess, last week with Corey Smith. I hope all that developing happens here. I think NC State the recent track record with NC State says, oh yeah, we can put you in the NFL. We have done that for a lot of different quarterbacks at this point. So you can get to the NFL from here. So hopefully, if you are CJ Bailey, this is where you want to be. But it's where he is right now, and the rest of the season, we'll see how NC State's offense takes steps forward. Here's what we know about the past. And we're gonna. I want one other thing from Dave Doran here in a second. Over the last several years, we have seen State struggle, especially offensively, in the first half of seasons. Now, they've had different offensive coordinators over time, but it's basically been the same pattern. It has been a slog at first, and then they kind of figure out what they do well, who does it well, and they get going, and they start moving forward. Hopefully that will happen, because I still think nothing has changed for NC State. Every game left on their schedule is either winnable or losable, and I understand how that could sound as the most no-duh comment ever. But they could legitimately win the rest of their games. And there also isn't anybody on that schedule that can't beat them. So we'll see how they kind of gel and mesh offensively, but they have so many options. What Dave Doran has noticed of late is maybe a little bit of an extra bounce.
I mean, the reward is winning, right? And the prior two games, we were right there and didn't get it done. And going through what we did emotionally as a team, through Grayson's injury and then CJ becoming the guy, and then now it's his team, and he got that win, a comeback win. And we played as a team together on the road 8 straight weeks, all the things that went into that 8th game, to see them overcome that against a team that's really good on defense. It was a great win. And then to have that momentum going into a bye week, and all right, here's what's left. Here's the 4 teams, here's how it lays out with another bye coming after Duke. There's definitely that confidence that you get from a win and excitement, about what you can do still with the rest of the season.
So I was very impressed with their defense in the fourth quarter. Like, I don't think their defense showed its teeth until late in that game, but they were dominant late. That's really how that comeback came about. Because the defense held Cal to a bunch of field goals in the middle of the game, but they were still giving up yards. And then in the fourth quarter, they allowed nothing. That was the impressive thing about it, is that at the end of this long stretch of games, no bye week, West Coast, all of that, they were awesome later on in the game. Does that matter going forward? No clue. Nobody has a clue. But I thought that was very encouraging. And yeah, they get another bye week. There's a lot of bye weeks in the college season this year. UNC is at Florida State. Mentioned before, Mac Brown going for his first victory over FSU. We haven't seen anything from UNC that would say we're going to get what we got last week this week, because they really haven't done that at any point this year. I realize that Minnesota's not great, but we didn't see that team, that North Carolina team, specifically that North Carolina defense. We didn't see that group again until this past Saturday. Are we going to see it in Tallahassee? I don't know. I'd like to think we would, but it's really a roll of the dice at this point because they haven't done it. They literally have not played the same way that they did in the opener against a credible team until this past Saturday. Hopefully they can do it again, because Florida State is obviously no good.
Oh, yeah, no.
They're just
stick a fork in them.
Awful.
Yeah.
Absolutely awful. So hopefully North Carolina can get another win. I'd love to see both teams be bowl eligible. I realize that's going into the season. Nobody would have been really cool with that, but I'd like to see that be the case. Duke. I was on with our friends in Charlotte earlier today, and Jeff Rickard, the host, said, I don't remember exactly the question, but it was about what can you tell us that lead us to believe that Duke can win at Miami? And I said, nothing. That doesn't mean they can't win. It's just that Duke is a good football team that still confounds me, because you would think they could be better offensively. They've got good wide receivers, legit good wide receivers. Jordan Moore is excellent. Pancol is good. The tight ends are good. The running backs are good, and they catch the ball. The offensive line is good. Malik Murphy is good. And yet they miss on so many plays. And, of course, their kicking game is awful. That'll be the big separator between Duke and Miami. Field goal kicking. Miami's as good as there is, and Duke is not as good as there is. They beat SMU if they could kick a field goal. They win the game if they could simply kick a field goal. And SMU is good. So I think Duke is good. I just don't think, and I don't think they maximize themselves offensively. And, well, if they get 6 turnovers, they're going to win the game. I'll just say that.
Hopefully.
They'll win the game
Yeah.
if they get 6 turnovers.
Yeah.
Because I don't know that Miami is all that good defensively. So, in fact, I know they're not good defensively. It's not that I don't know if they are. No, they're not good defensively. But is Duke good enough to take advantage of it? That's what we don't know. And then, of course, we've got the game of the weekend. If you are a college football fan, Ohio State at Penn State. We're going to get down to the end of the season, and if Ohio State is not in the Big Ten title game, they would have played essentially a 2-game season at Oregon and at Penn State. It's possible they lose both of those games. And, all right, I misspoke. They do also play Indiana, and Indiana is a very good football team. I'm not going to knock that. So they would have played a 3-game season. I just don't know how you judge a team based on just 3, games against quality opponents, because Michigan is not a quality opponent this year. They're okay. Still don't know how they beat Southern Cal after Southern Cal beat It's weird. The fabric of college football is strange at times. Transitive property tells us that East Carolina was great. If you did the transitive property thing. They're better than Georgia if you do transitive property. I mean, you can find the thread in all of that. But Ohio State is at Penn State. Penn State is good. I think what Chip Patterson told us is that Ohio State is banged up. But so is Penn State. We'll see who's got more good players in reserve, I guess. But to me, it's kind of a must-win for the Buckeyes. I mean, they'll get in, probably. But who knows? I mean, they expected Ryan Day to just absolutely roll this season, and it really hasn't been. I watched the Ohio State-Nebraska game. I'm pretty confident that Nebraska's not great, and they were banged up, including their quarterback. And Ohio State didn't look all that good to me. So, at some point, you do have to look the part. They probably played their best game in a loss at Oregon, to be honest. That was probably their best game. Maybe that's encouraging. But honestly, that's probably the only other gotta-watch game of the weekend. I mean, the other one might be tonight. San Diego State and Boise State.
Yeah, could be.
I mean, first of all, Boise State's running back is a Heisman Trophy candidate. I've watched video of him. He's going to be a pro, and a good one. He's that good. He's got ridiculous balance. Like, you can't knock him over. It's like a bowling ball. You can't knock over a bowling ball. You cannot do that. And he just doesn't ever, you can't knock him off balance.
He just rolls with it.
It's
I mean, it is a bowling ball.
You're such a turkey. All right. When we come back, Brian Geisinger on the start of the hoop season, which is coming up on Monday. Everywhere. Next.
Serving it up hot and fresh every day. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Listen every afternoon for The Drive with Tim Donnelly.
At this point, I think it's obvious. Dave Canales and Bryce Young just don't like each other. They're two guys that don't trust each other. They're forced to work with each other. They didn't pick each other. But when they're forced to be on the field, one calling plays, one being the quarterback, they just don't get along. We all have that coworker. Theirs is pretty important.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 3 to 6 on 99.9 The Fan.
Adam Gold in studio with my man Patrick Day from the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. Everything for the exterior of your home, but it's also everything for the peace of mind of the customer. Talk to me about the trust factor and everything else that you guys offer.
I got to tell you, I think one of the biggest things for us is we don't take any payment from you for any of your home improvement needs until we're done with the project. I hear stories all the time about people putting down deposits with companies, 25, 50% of the project total overall, and they don't even know, they don't show up.
Right.
You've lost whatever percentage you put down, that's how much power you lost already. Right?
Right.
So with us, you pay nothing until we're done. Typically we're not the least expensive, and we're certainly not the most expensive. You get 3 or 4 estimates, we're going to fall right there in the middle. But, you're going to have a warranty that's lifetime, transferable for 10 years on any of the products we sell typically. And we've been around since 1961. You can trust us. We've been around forever.
It is about trust, and I think you guys are the most trustworthy business that I know. Aluminum Company of North Carolina, aluminumcompany.com.
It's bow time. It's not just football season. It's tailgate season. And that includes every kind of football, whether it's got goalkeepers or goalposts. The kick is good! Because it doesn't matter where or how you tailgate. When you've got crispy chicken and fluffy buttermilk biscuits from Bojangles, your tailgate is better than great. It's legendary. Head to Bojangles and order your tailgate box with boldly seasoned chicken, fixins, biscuits, and legendary iced tea today. It's bow time.
Planning a tailgate? Then it's bow time. Bojangles has everything you need for the perfect tailgate, no matter how many fans you're trying to feed. There's the original tailgate, the super tailgate, and for a really big crowd, the jumbo tailgate special. And if you like your chicken off the bone, choose the Supreme's tailgate special that includes 12 perfectly seasoned tenderloin fillets. So grab the tickets, get that Bojangles tailgate special, and go. It's bow time.
Kamala backed Biden on everything. She was the deciding vote for his disastrous economic agenda. Kamala and Joe raised taxes on the middle class, and prices soared. Kamala was in charge of his open border policies, giving welfare to illegals while Americans struggle, and their weakness invited wars. Now Kamala wants to double down on failure. It's time to turn the page on Joe and Kamala's failed agenda. President Trump fights for you. His strength kept us safe. Trump cut taxes for families. Prices were lower and the border secure. Now, President Trump can do it again.
And we are going to launch a new golden age of American success for the citizens of every race, religion, color, and creed.
Remember, Kamala broke it. President Trump will fix it.
I'm Donald Trump, candidate for president, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Donald J. Trump for President 2024 Inc.
No two people learn the exact same way. So how did Babbel become the award-winning language learning app? We thought of you, all of you. Take Sierra. As a visual learner, she uses Babbel's wordplay videos.
Today I'll share a quick lesson on shopping in French.
Merci beaucoup. Keith is a be in the room with real people kind of learner, so he loves the live online classes with our language experts.
Okay, class. Vos está pronto.
Estamos prontos.
However you learn, Babbel makes it easy. Try Babbel for free at babbel.com. BABBEL.com.
This is Adam Gold.
Dan on Twitter, who you got? Robert Plant or Elvis Presley? That is actually very difficult because I don't want to disrespect Elvis Presley. I think it's Elvis. It's very, very close. And that is an incredible question.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold, Victoria on the ones and twos. I do feel like I have forced you against your will to delve into Christmas music.
It's okay. I mean, not my choice, not my cup of tea, because I'm still like, it's hard for me to give up the spooky season. I did think I was going to barf when I saw my first Christmas commercial like a week ago.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, what are we doing? But it's fine. I should be used to this. We're going to start doing Christmas in like summer, but give it a few years.
Well,
it'd be like Labor Day and Christmas stuff.
Yeah, I was seeing Christmas in July ads in July.
Exactly.
It is what it is.
It's okay. But I love Christmas. That's the thing. I love Christmas. I love the music. It's just, I do think we should celebrate the Turkey Day.
No, we're not.
But we're not.
Again, it's just a meal.
Right.
With football games around it.
Yes, and a great nap.
All it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's all it is. Meanwhile, Monday, today's Friday, Monday, the college basketball season is upon us. I feel like we should start with more of a bang, but just about everybody plays basically guaranteed bye games. Brian Geisinger, our friend, man who knows more about basketball than any human being I know, 24/7 Sports, Buzzbeat podcast at bgeis_bird. All right, sir. Let's. Why don't we start with the Blue Devils? Because I feel like we're going to end the season with them. As young as they are, I feel like that's where the season is going to end. Watching a Duke basketball game in April on a Monday night. How crazy is that?
I don't think it's too crazy. I mean, obviously, a million things, 10 million things can break and move in different directions, and the NCAA tournament is so unpredictable.
Right.
Who knows? But and there's other very compelling teams out there. I watched Alabama and the Wake Forest scrimmage from a few weeks ago, and Alabama looked pretty amazing in that game as well, despite missing two of their better players. But, yeah, and you don't want to pull too much away from the exhibition games, but there is a really nice roster that's been put together in Durham between the high-end talent of, like, the incoming freshmen led by Cooper Flagg and Tonka Nipple and Common Malawash, then with the veterans that were brought in through the transfer portal,
right,
that can help as, occasional drivers of offense, but also guys that just are totally additive with Mason Gillis and Sion James, Malik Brown, who really looks like a guy that's going to contribute for them defensively. And then with the returning backcourt of Tyrese Proctor and Caleb Foster. But there's a lot of shooting on this team. There's a lot of playmaking talent. There's a lot of cool stuff they can do defensively. They've got great size and length. And John Shire and his staff are really good. And so, this is an organized team that seems to have good chemistry at the moment. And just from what I've seen in, the 2 preseason games, I like some of the new stuff they're implementing in offensively. And long story short, they're doing that to help open up the rim for drives and to give, Cooper Flagg good opportunities, being a guy that's initiating 5-out offense for them this season. So it's a really nice mix. And this team has the chance to be pretty special this season if things click for them.
Right, and if they stay healthy and all of that, and Cooper Flagg is 17, he will not turn 18 until December. Brian Geisinger, 24/7 Sports, is joining us here in the Adam Gold Show. I'm just going to draw an analogy to football, and it's the opposite, really. Football, college football, in no way prepares players for the NFL. They just don't. Quarterbacks are not college teams do not use NFL-style offenses. Some NFL teams have adapted what they do to utilize what the college guys are trained to do, but it's not necessarily an NFL-style offense. Through our conversations, you have intimated that John Shire is implementing, in many ways, NBA-style offenses. Is that a fair account of what we talked about?
Definitely. And I think there are plenty of teams that find a way to mix these, concepts and principles in. But one of the things that you're seeing Duke do this season, they played a lot of 5-out last year around Kyle Filipowski, right? Where they would initiate, they have 5 guys above the 3-point arc. Kyle Filipowski has the ball in the middle of the court. And they start the possession by launching into handoffs or screens on one side of the floor. What you're seeing this year now is they're often putting Cooper Flagg in the role of Kyle Filipowski. Cooper Flagg is the team's de facto power forward. So what are you doing with your center? Well, instead of putting the center in the dunker spot, by the rim or space to the corner, where you saw Mark Mitchell a lot last season, and that allowed opponents to play off of him and help protect the rim. They're putting that center, so Malawash or Brown, and they're putting that player on the wing. And without going into all of the details, it changes the spacing in the half court for the offense. It changes the help responsibilities for that player, and it opens up the basket for drives. And this is something that the Atlanta Hawks and Quinn Snyder used last season so they could run 5-out around Jalen Johnson as their power forward. It's something the Boston Celtics have done to run 5-out around Jason Tatum. The Charlotte Hornets are using it in the preseason, or have used it in the preseason and at the start of this year too. It's something that J.J. Redick and Tyrese Halliburton talked about on J.J. Redick's podcast last season before he became the head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers. So, look, I don't know when or how organically or inorganically or whatever the inspiration was for this, but it does allow Duke, and they're not doing it every time down the court, but it has been a big piece for them through the exhibition games. It allows them to space the floor, go 5-out with Cooper Flagg, and then turn that center into a screener, whether on ball or off ball. So we'll see how it works, but so far, I think the all too early returns are rather encouraging. So I'm excited to sort of monitor it throughout the season.
Brian Geisinger is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. I watched the game against Arizona State. It was mind blowing. The shooting, especially in the second half, Con Knippel looks like a better version of Luke Kennard. The fact that Darren Harris and Isaiah Evans are likely going to not play at all, and they are that good, it to me boggles. But look, we do have to wait and see what it looks like over the course of the season. Their non-conference schedule is quite challenging, and that's good. It needs to be because these guys need to be like. I'll be curious to see how it progresses, but I have very, very high expectations for them. I have the same, maybe not exactly the same. Like, I think if you looked at the rankings, Duke to me is slightly underrated at 7. I think North Carolina is slightly overrated at 9. Doesn't mean they're not going to be excellent. Doesn't mean they couldn't make a Final Four or win a national championship. I just think there are more questions for UNC. RJ Davis is an absolute known. Give me some of the other questions for the Tar Heels that need to be answered.
Yeah, I mean, nothing needs to be said about RJ at this point. He's amazing.
One of the best players in college basketball. Easy.
One of the best, can play on and off the ball. Like, he's super malleable and dependable, and he's played in a million big games. He's awesome. I think for UNC, like, where I would start, pretty obvious, but just sort of like, how are you? They have great players in town to fill the void of Armando Bacot, but right. They're different player types. So, what does the center rotation look like for UNC this season? I liked Ben Allen Lubin a lot when he was a freshman at Notre Dame a couple years ago. As a guy pretty athletic at the 5, could run the floor. I think he's going to really help the pick and roll offense. Jalen Washington is a guy that, in terms of frame and skill set, I've liked for a while.
Right.
It's year 3. It's a big year for him, but he can screen and dive, but also pick and pop and face up. So I'm kind of curious to see if one of those guys, which one of those guys sort of solidifies themselves. And if it is Washington, then it's also a pretty good player development, story also for UNC. And I'll be curious to see what Seth Trimble's role looks like this season.
Yes.
He had a great role for them a year ago as an athlete defender off the bench, right? And it was a good role for him, cutter, move without the ball, defend. But as we saw at the end of the season last year, the way Alabama guarded UNC, which was taking, Grant Nelson, their center, and putting that guy either on Cadeau or Seth Trimble and just not honoring them as shooters.
Right.
So I do think one of the bigger sort of question marks to know whether it's been answered or not is Cadeau and Trimble were great players last season, but have one or both of them made leaps as shooters, because that changes the overall ceiling, I believe, for UNC's offense. And yeah, I'll just be kind of curious to know Cadeau as a talent-wise, where he is coming into his sophomore season, because excellent passer, sees the floor, can really drive. But, teams were able to guard him a certain way. Alabama's not the only team that, played off of Elliot Cadeau and Seth Trimble last year. Duke did it as well. So I'll be curious to see sort of they return a fair amount of players. Where are some of those guards from an offensive production standpoint?
Yeah, I have incredible – I cannot wait to watch this version of Seth Trimble. I think Trimble's going to have a tremendous year. I think he's – more capable of impacting the game at both ends of the floor without a jump shot. I think Cadeau needs a jump shot, because my one fear of North Carolina is defensively they're small at the guard spots. Their 2 best guards are small in Cadeau and RJ Davis. That's my fear for them. But Trimble is not, and I think Trimble can guard anywhere. How much can we expect from, at least 2 of the high-profile freshmen, Jackson and Powell?
I think a lot from both. I mean, it's a pretty crowded rotation.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be interesting to see where they're able to slide in. But I just think from a sheer talent standpoint, those are both guys that have not just pro potential, but have, NBA first-round pick potential. And, you can't hide that stuff. It's got to be part of the mix. And it'll be interesting to see sort of like what lineups they look to get to from a versatility standpoint, to not only like give them some different looks, but also to maybe get more of these guys on the floor at the same time. I'm very excited to see Jackson this season too. That's one of the incoming, rookies in college hoops that I'm probably most looking forward to seeing this year.
All right, let me get to the Wolfpack. Coming off a Final Four, I think that obviously the breakthrough season for them, and it's kind of weird to say breakthrough season as a program because it was kind of an unconventional trip to a Final Four. Now, that doesn't mean they can't, right. They can't, like VCU got to a Final Four under Shaka Smart out of the first four, and it was like they sort of established themselves as a very good program. So, to me, can NC State use the miracle run to the final? Because that's what it was. They're not making the tournament unless Michael O'Connell hits the half-court shot against Virginia in the ACC tournament. I mean, they're going to the NIT, if that, right? So, now can you build off of that type of a Final Four run without the two DJs who did a lot of the heavy lifting? Also, who's the guy that left? Mo Diarra. So, so you're missing three huge parts, but they still have a lot coming back. You have O'Connell back. You have Daniels, Parker, Middlebrooks. You got newcomers out of the portal. What are your thoughts on the Wolfpack?
Yeah, I'm intrigued because like you pointed out, I mean, they lost their two best offensive players and they lost their best defender and rebounder. And, Diarra was just a superhero for them the final 3 weeks of last season. Just incredible stuff. I am curious to know where they're going to get half-court offensive initiation because I'm a big Michael O'Connell fan. I liked him actually when he was at Stanford.
Right.
I think he's a great hit-ahead passer. I think he does a really nice job getting State organized in transition and in their secondary actions. By the end of last season, he had sort of come online as a shot maker, off the dribble, mid-range, and catch and shoot threes, that kind of stuff. So that would go, if that's sustainable, that would go a long way towards making him more viable, not as a DJ Horn replacement, but just sort of being a guy that could not just organize the half-court offense, but also compromise the defense and make plays as a shot maker. Jaden Taylor, really liked him last season, but I think he needs to sort of settle into more of the Casey Morcell role,
right?
Of 3-and-D catch and shoot. He's a great on-ball defender. He can really run in transition. He did it when he was at Butler before he came to NC State. So I'm hopeful that he sort of settles into that role and that they're able to find either via the newcomers, someone like Marcus Hill or one of the freshmen. I'm pretty high on Paul McNeil Jr. Bryce Hurd has obviously played well in the preseason build-up for them as well. But they need someone to replace the shot-making of Horn. And, at the end of the day, half-court offense, no matter what your talent looks like, no matter what your system is, half-court offenses are trying to create advantages, and that starts with getting two defenders on the ball, right? And whether that's a pick and roll, and you've got the screen defender needs to blitz or hedge out or switch, or it's a post up with DJ Burns and the double team's coming. The two most reliable ways by a considerable margin that State was able to really create advantages in the half court were Burns post ups and DJ Horn, dribble handoff, pick and roll actions. And so that's a lot. It's not plug and play, with new players.
Right.
You need special offensive talents step into those roles. But Kevin Keatts, what he can always say is historically his teams, I mean, he prints top 50 to top 65 offenses, and he has in Raleigh in terms of adjusted offensive efficiency. They don't turn the ball over. That's a big reason for that. So I will be curious to see what the offense looked like. So my guess is they'll move more away from the post-ups that they had leaned in on the last couple of seasons with Burns. So
Right.
go back to being more of like high pick and roll, spread pick and roll, side ball screen offense. And I think guys like Ben Middlebrooks and Brandon Huntley-Hatfield have big opportunities as guys that can rim run, and Huntley-Hatfield has some ability to pick and pop and face up and make plays on the short roll. So I like the center rotation even without Burns. I'm just kind of curious to know how State is going to make tough shots and also create advantages in the half court this year, because right now there's a bit of a question mark at sort of like the playmaker roles.
Right. All right, we're going to leave it there. Brian Geisinger, 24/7 Sports Buzzbeat podcast at @bgeis_bird. We're going to talk to you on Fridays, so we will we'll hit you up in 7 days, my friend.
Appreciate it. You guys have a nice weekend.
You too, Brian Geisinger, basketball savant. It should be fun. I know that there is some sentiment that State is has arrived. I think Kevin Keats has done a very good job. He has not been able to have quality roster continuity. What's weird is that he's not the only team in the triangle that has dealt with that. Duke hasn't had good roster continuity. But Duke is doing that almost by design with one-and-done players. So there's so many new faces every year, but they're not here and then, some of them, a lot of them transferred out, the guys who didn't play a lot last year. But for the most part, you're coming here and you're going to the NBA. North Carolina has had tremendous continuity. R.J. Davis is still here. It is remarkable how stable their rosters have been. So as long as North Carolina can recruit and keep super talented players here, their culture is one of stability. That's the way to do it, I think, in college basketball. Kind of the way UConn has done it. Purdue, reason they were, a national finalist a year ago. They were obviously, yes, of course, Zach Edey, but a lot of guys who had been around for a while. That, to me, is the easiest way to win in college basketball. Have talent, but have talent that sticks around. It's not as easy to do that. Or you could just get the 5 best players every year out of high school basketball and put them on the court theoretically like what John Shire's done. I don't know. But they haven't done a lot of winning yet. So, I can't wait till it all starts on Monday. I know all 3 schools are in action. I think Wake also plays on Monday. Elon Duke plays Maine, which, by the way, Cooper Flagg's brother, he committed to Maine. He's actually going to spend one more year at a prep school and then attend Maine starting the following fall, if I'm not mistaken. Carolina plays Elon. State plays, I think, South Carolina upstate to begin. Then I think Duke plays Kansas the second game. Something silly. Just go. Let's get it done. But yeah, it all begins, and but I guess that's the Champions Classic. That might be why Duke plays Kansas. I don't know. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back. We will stretch, and we will place bets. I'm trying to think. Did I win anything yet? I'll let you know if I won anything yesterday. Next.
Raleigh to Boone, Charlotte to Chapel Hill. Your Carolina is covered. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
NC Medicaid is for people just like me.
Adults who don't have children.
People who serve.
People who do the heavy lifting.
Childcare teachers. Full healthcare coverage at low or no cost.
Doctor's visits, emergency rooms, and prescriptions.
So if you applied before and didn't get it, apply again.
NC Medicaid covers more people than ever before.
Get full healthcare coverage at low cost, no monthly fees, and $4 max copays. NC Medicaid is for more people. See if you qualify at medicaid.nc.gov.
The North Carolina Healthcare Association invites you to listen to this month's podcast.
Conversations on the State of Healthcare. This month, we are diving into a topic that is important to so many of us, the health insurance open enrollment period. In our latest episode, produced in partnership with the North Carolina Healthcare Association, we speak with Megan Brohl, a consultant with the Marsh McLennan Agency, an NCHA partner providing business employee health and benefits, and a graduate of Coastal Carolina University. She explains some of the things to consider when opting in for insurance coverage.
Really looking at the information, comparing the plans, not just the premiums, but what's the coverage, and making that best decision for you, your family, what's going to be best in the future if you have things that are coming up, and really considering all factors when you're looking at your coverage.
You can learn more and join our latest conversation on the state of healthcare wherever you find your favorite podcasts, and learn more by visiting nchealthcare.org.
As fall championships begin, the Governor's Highway Safety Program would like to remind you to buckle your seatbelt when traveling home from today's events. Whether you're driving out of town or across town this holiday season, wearing a seatbelt is your best defense against injury or death in a crash. During the busiest time of travel, prioritize your safety and buckle up. Every seat, every time. And remember, click it or ticket. It's the law. This message brought to you by the North Carolina High School Athletic Association and the Governor's Highway Safety Program.
Did you know Atlantic hurricane season runs through November? From gathering necessary supplies to planning an evacuation route, now is the time to make sure you and your family are prepared. And if a storm damages our electric system, local public power providers are ready to respond and restore power quickly and safely. As a public power customer, you benefit from having an electricity provider that restores power faster than other providers do. Visit electricities.com for storm preparation tips and resources.
Hello there, it's me, your internal clock. Yes, the one you sleep through on weekends. You've probably heard my TikToks, but I'm straight up sounding the bell now. It's almost time to start applying for college. That means you got transcripts to gather, letters of rec to request, and campus tours to schedule. But hey, we got time, and we've got CFNC. CFNC.org can help us plan, apply, and pay for college. We got this, trust me. Just visit CFNC.org to help us stay on time.
The 2024 elections are just around the corner, and older voters are the nation's most active. The AARP North Carolina Voters Guide has information about upcoming election dates, registration deadlines, and voting options in North Carolina, such as voting by mail, early voting, or voting with a disability. Find the guide in the voters section at aarp.org/NC and listen each week to AARP Without Limits for important election news and much more. You can find the latest episodes of AARP Without Limits wherever you listen to your podcasts.
Have you ever noticed how little things can make a big difference? Think about how good you feel when someone looks you in the eye and smiles. It makes you want to do the same. A smile. A simple word of thanks for a good deed, no matter how small. Passing on the simple expression, "Have a great day." It takes so little time, but it works wonders. In North Carolina, we have always taken pride in being kind. Little things do make a difference. Makes you feel better. Makes everyone around you feel better.
This is Adam Gold.
We don't need Al Roker in a suit doing yoga.
No.
And Al, to his credit, recognized that and said, you know what? I am not getting into Warrior 2.
I'm stopping at Downward Dog.
There will be no, he didn't get to that. Like, heck no.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold, Victoria, producing the program. Going to stretch. We will place bets. I couldn't find my third wager. I went 0 for the other two, but that's okay.
Yeah, I didn't do so great yesterday.
We'll figure out what happened. Of course, none of it was real anyway, but that's fine. Maybe I did do a couple of recent ones. Of course, I didn't do all the ones that hit.
Of course, yes.
No.
Yes.
I should know better. I should know better. All right, it's time to stretch.
Okay, so today kicks off a new month. So,
yes.
November 1st, And I always like to go down and see what are some things that we can look forward to
in the month.
In this month, this new month that we're dealing with. Well, one thing that you may not look forward to, remember, this Sunday is daylight saving time, so we gain an hour of sleep on Saturday.
Can I have it tonight?
Yeah, I know.
I need it tonight.
Yes. So
I needed it this morning.
We'll gain that hour. I know. It's funny how when it's the other way and we lose an hour, that hour is never like in the middle of the workday. It's always while we're sleeping, so you're tired. But we'll get extra sleep this weekend. Also, Election Day is on Tuesday. If you haven't voted early, then Tuesday is your last day, the Election Day. Also, in sports, we have the NBA season kicking off. MLS playoffs are underway. The NASCAR Cup Series Championship is November 10th. And the boxing match between the joke Jake Paul and Mike Tyson should be streaming on Netflix November 15th if there's not something that happens to prevent that from happening again.
All right. This will be the first time in my life that I am rooting for Mike Tyson.
Yes.
Now,
Same.
that's not, when Tyson was fighting at his heyday, I just wasn't a Tyson fan.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't fight very long.
Mm-hmm.
But I am team Mike Tyson. I want Tyson to beat Jake Paul.
Yes.
I want him to beat Jake Paul so badly that he starts calling himself Logan.
That he stops doing this stuff.
I want Tyson to beat his brains in.
Yes, beat his. Yeah, I'm so over Jake Paul. So I hope this happens, and I hope that outcome happens. But that will be on Netflix November 15th. Also, some movies that are hitting the theaters. Gladiator 2 and Wicked, all on November 22nd. So you can have, if there's a couple. I feel like this is the Oppenheimer and Barbie situation, potentially.
Really?
I don't know. Yeah.
Gladiator and Wicked?
Right, like the yin and the yang, like the take your wife and your husband.
I saw Oppenheimer. I didn't see Barbie.
Yeah, I've seen both. Barbie wasn't bad. It was good. Now I know you're going to be excited about this. Yellowstone is back for part 2 of their 5th season this month.
I'll watch it. So my understanding is that Kevin Costner is only in the first episode.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know the details about that, but I do know that he's not going to be in future ones. So if he's in the first one, that's news, but he's apparently not going to be in this newest season.
He also has decided that it's terrible.
Yeah,
I'm guessing.
There's a lot of rumors in the rumor mill about that situation.
Man, that show, for the first 2 seasons, I thought were really good.
Mm-hmm.
And then,
yeah,
not
your cup of tea.
How crazy can we make it?
Mm-hmm.
I was having this discussion earlier. These shows, it's hard to sustain them at their height. You remember True Detective?
Oh, yeah.
The first season of True Detective is as good as television is going to get.
It's fantastic, yeah.
The second one was okay.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
The third one was, I actually think the third one was better than the second one.
Yes.
But the third one really also wasn't that great. And then they stopped.
Right.
Because you know what? Because I think the plan was to do like 6 seasons of it. Like, you're just never going to do that one again.
No.
The only series that I think like this that has lasted the test, or that could, but stopped, was Ted Lasso.
See, and I still haven't seen Ted Lasso, because isn't it like Apple or something, that
it is
streaming
it
service?
Is Apple.
Yeah.
Free preview.
Oh, see, I should do that. But that's how Paramount got me.
There you go.
You get the free preview, and then you see you like it, and you're like, dang it.
Oh,
now
no, yeah. But we got
month.
it simply to watch Ted Lasso, and then we shut it down.
Well, that's a good idea.
It was
I'll
very
have
good.
to do that now.
It was Ted Lasso is amazing. They're coming back for a 4th season. Jason Sudeikis is going to be in it, but I don't know how it's going to work.
Yeah.
And all 3 seasons were very different, I thought.
Oh.
And I loved every episode of that show.
I know.
Every single one.
A lot of people did like it.
Yeah.
So I know a lot of people liked this one as well, but I didn't realize it was in its 6th season. Part 2 of Cobra Kai's 6th season.
No.
Is on Netflix.
That is awful.
It is.
That's so
It's
bad.
so bad.
And my son loves it. Oh my God. And my wife indulges him with it. She's
Right,
like,
but yeah,
let's watch it. Let's
that's
watch
rough.
Cobra Kai.
That is prime time.
I leave the room.
Victoria's sleeping on the couch TV right there.
I
That's
leave
what
the
that
room.
is. And also, if you're into country music, the CMA Awards, that will be November 20th. And then let's not forget our holidays this month. Veterans Day, the 11th, and Thanksgiving, the 28th. So, Turkey Day, even though they want Christmas to start yesterday. But one thing that you can't ignore is our amazing bets.
Place your bets. Place your
Try.
bets. Here. I bet you slice into the woods.
Just try.
Gambling is illegal at Bushwood, sir, and I never slide.
Okay, you can owe me. I owe you one.
All right. Fire away, Victoria.
All right, so Lee did not prepare himself for UFC Edmonton this weekend, but I did. And I am going to talk about Derek Lewis and Honada Denise. Now, this guy, Janice, is undefeated. He's 8-0 right now, but Derek Lewis is Derek Lewis. He's been a vet for a long time. He's on a heater right now, so hot he likes to take his pants off in the octagon when he wins. I anticipate seeing pants coming off in the octagon again, so give me Derek Lewis, the underdog for UFC Edmonton. He's plus 140. True story.
So don't they kind of all wear shorts?
Yes. He wears, shorts under shorts. So, yeah, he's down to his skivvies.
Oh, really?
It's hilarious.
All right, then.
He's so funny.
Good for him. All right, we got all 3 Triangle football schools playing in the afternoon on Saturday. Duke is at noon at Miami. They're 20.5-point underdogs. Florida State hosts UNC. I think that's 3:30. They are 2.5-point underdogs. And NC State hosts Stanford as 9.5-point favorites. That game is also noon. I'm going to parlay all 3. Duke plus the points. Stanford plus the points. We're going to take points in all 3 games. I think we're going to have competitive games. And that is plus 664.
Okay, well, moving on to a football game that I don't think will work out well for Panther fans like myself. The Saints are coming to the Carolinas.
Marching in.
Oh, yes, they are marching in with Derek Carr leading the way. So I have to take the Saints in this one, and I do not know why. It is set at 43.5, but I'm taking the under with that one. So taking the Saints and the under 43.5 is plus 140.
All right. Ohio State is at Penn State. Buckeyes will cover the 3.5 as a road favorite, under 47.5. James Franklin don't win big games. End of discussion.
And last but not least, Commanders taking on the New York Giants. Give me Robinson Jr. for the first touchdown, plus 700.
I have an EPL game. Bournemouth will upset Manchester City, plus 430. Give it to them.
As fall championships begin, the Governor's Highway Safety Program would like to remind you to buckle your seatbelt when traveling home from today's events. Whether you're driving out of town or across town this holiday season, wearing a seatbelt is your best defense against injury or death in a crash. During the busiest time of travel, prioritize your safety and buckle up. Every seat, every time. And remember, click it or ticket. It's the law. This message brought to you by the North Carolina High School Athletic Association and the Governor's Highway Safety Program.
Going beyond the box scores. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
The NBA is back, and FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, wants you to catch all of the action. Not just some, all of the action, because right now, FanDuel is giving everyone 3 months of NBA League Pass, and all you have to do is place any $5 bet on the NBA. Just place the bet. Then you get 3 months of NBA League Pass, courtesy of FanDuel and me, I guess. FanDuel.com/Adam Gold. FanDuel.com/Adam Gold. By the way, Lakers and the Raptors, you want to see LeBron James Twins play? That's a League Pass game. And how about the Pelicans and the Pacers? That should be fun. FanDuel.com/Adam Gold. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NBA. 21 and over and present in North Carolina. After 3-month free trial, the full price of League Pass will be automatically charged monthly. Cancel anytime. No refunds. Terms, restrictions, and embargoes apply. Limit 1 pass per customer. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
Hey, Carolina Panthers fans, it's Dennis Cox from 99.9 The Fan. For all the inside information on your team, join me and my co-host WRAL TV's Chris Lee for our podcast, Panthers Playbook, presented by Carolina Ford Dealers. In every episode, we'll keep you up to date on your Panthers, and we'll do it with access only we can provide. Locker room insight, exclusive interviews, and in-depth looks at every Panthers game. Follow and subscribe to Panthers Playbook wherever you discover your favorite podcasts or watch on YouTube.
Sometimes I struggle to get to sleep. My body stopped for the day, but my mind is still running. So I take ZQuil.
ZQuil, the world's #1 sleep aid brand, has a range of non-habit-forming products to fit you and your family's needs. Invest in a great night's sleep for the best you tomorrow.
I'm awake and ready to take on anything.
Better days start with ZQuil nights. Explore our products at ZQuil.com. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Sounds like wipers. If your wipers are streaking, skipping, chattering, or even worse, loud, you need to visit AutoZone and get some fresh new blades. We've got basic wipers to get you back on the road, as well as premium blades from Bosch and Rain-X. So if you're hearing this, just head to your nearest AutoZone or AutoZone.com.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
From the Canes to the Panthers to all of the college sports in the Triangle, we cover it all on the Best of the Drive with Tim Donnelly podcast. Brought to you by Coach Pete at Capital Financial Advisory Group. Visit us at capitalfinancialusa.com.
The way I describe it for people is my dad shot himself and the bullet hit everyone in his life. It was a week before my 30th birthday, and I had this impulse to call him, but I didn't, because I thought I could call him later that week.
63 Americans a day die by gun suicide. With safe gun storage, we can give our loved ones a second chance at life. Learn more at endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by Brady and the Ad Council.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Stahl, board-certified urologist and senior vice president of men's sexual health at HIMSS. I've helped many guys with ED in my 12 years of practice. But now you can get world-class care for ED 100% online by going to hims.com. So what are you waiting for?
To start your free online visit and find ED treatment at up to 95% off brand name prices, go to hims.com/joy.
WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on radio, web, app, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports leader.
I grew up hearing that women are bad with money, but I pay bills and take care of my family. I'm taking control of my financial future by saving for retirement at WeSaySaveIt.org. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Ankle alone on the left. Two wideouts wide on the right. From the left hash, here we go. From the shotgun, a snap. Murphy to throw, looking to the left. End zone shot. It is caught. Eli Panko for the touchdown. They did it again in the extra session. And now Manny Diaz talking to the near side official. I think they're going to go for two and try to win it right here.
You're listening to The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Unfortunately, they did not win it. They could have. Was there pass interference, holding, whatever on that play? Probably. Whatever. You got 6 turnovers from SMU and got no points off turnovers. It's almost impossible to do.
Exactly. It's like the Yankees leaving the bases loaded and getting nothing.
That's not impossible.
It's not,
No.
but it shouldn't happen. Multiple times.
Yeah, we should have a game 6 tonight. Come on, Yankees, you let us all down.
I just wanted more baseball, but...
You let us all down, Yankees.
I know. We have to start the weekend off of a Jets game.
Well, that's maybe that's the punishment for New York.
I know.
Could be.
The Jets are your highlight.
I'm telling you, they're still looking at the Jets' remaining schedule. I mean, I guess they could win 7 games in a row. I don't think they will.
Nah.
But I think the Jets will finish 7-10. What an unbelievable waste of everybody's time and their money.
Yes.
And the Jets' money, a waste of everybody's time.
Effort,
which,
time.
Honestly, should be the Jets' motto.
Mm-hmm.
The Panthers are keep pounding.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Carolina Hurricanes, every year they have a new slogan. This year it's raise up.
They do.
Last year it was cause chaos, which people didn't like.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever. The Jets' slogan should be a waste of your time and money.
Yeah. Stay away.
Exactly. Oh, well. Well, we'll hear from the Jets here as we get into the Wall of Sound.
The Wall of Sound is a function of this studio. There's no doubt about it.
I'm going to start with the Hurricanes. Positivity, people. Hurricanes won their 5th straight. They are now 7-2-0 on the season. Sunday they will take on 7-2-0 Washington. Should be a blast. Rod Brindamore was asked about the 6-goal scorer, Jack Roslovic.
I don't know. It's strange. He's fast and he's got a great release, as you saw tonight. So, obviously it's been a great fit here so far. And sometimes you just, I don't really know how to explain it, but maybe just a new change of scenery and fresh start. Sometimes that is what you need.
All right. So, background: Roslovic in his career, and it's not like he's a rookie. He's in his 20s, in his late 20s, but he has played with high-level players and just really has not been a point producer or a goal scorer over the course of his career. His career high of goals is 22. That was several years ago. He has not scored more than 12 in any one season. He had 9 last year between his time with Winnipeg and with Columbus and the Rangers. And he played with top players in both. But he's got 6 in 9 games. Do the math. 6 times 9 is 54. We've played 1/9 of the season. He's on pace for 54 goals. Probably not going to get there. Anyway, it is interesting. I thought it would be interesting to hear what the Boston Bruins side had to say about last night. 8-2 in arrears to the Hurricanes. Jim Montgomery, Boston's head coach.
I look at it a little differently. We had a lot of success the last 2 years, and we were first place in the league at Thanksgiving the last 2 years. We never achieved anything we wanted to. Right now, we're not happy. Nobody's happy with what's going on, but we will get out of it, and we will be better, and hopefully it creates a better result come playoff time.
And where does that start?
It starts by sticking together and working. I mean, there's no substitute for second and third effort.
I love the winning horn in the background. It's just like chef's kiss.
This is how badly they wanted to get out of the arena. He did his media availability while they were announcing the 3 stars.
Yes. Like right by a tunnel, apparently.
I love
it.
I know where they set visiting media sets up.
Oh.
It is. It's right. It's very close. Oh my gosh. It's very close to the ice.
Fantastic.
David Pasternak, who did nothing yesterday on the loss.
Definitely move our feet. There's a lot of stick penalties, high stick. So that's one. But honestly, the game, we just weren't good enough. 5-on-5 at all. They were all over us, and we got to be better.
There were a lot of line changes tonight, and Monty's kind of known for that and for looking for a spark. But can that have a reverse effect too, where guys kind of lose confidence when they're constantly getting?
Monty's just trying to get us going. So obviously it doesn't work. So the mixing lines needs to happen. So I'm personally I have no problem with it. I can read off anybody, but it's just. I said right now it's not about the combination. We we are not good enough as a team, and that's where it starts.
Yeah, you can't. I don't look at that team as they just needed a different set of line combinations. I think that team is structurally broken. But, of course, it looked that way next to Carolina. And maybe it was Carolina that made them look that way. They just did beat Toronto in overtime 4-3. So, and I don't know that Toronto is broken. I do think the Hurricanes are a very, very hard team for Boston with the way Carolina skates. It has been a tremendous game. Pasternak mentioned the 5-on-5 play. 5-on-5, normal, for people who aren't aware, normal, even strength. Each team, normal course of events, no power plays, no pulled goalie or anything like that. Through 2 periods, so 40 minutes, although it was less because there was a lot of power play time. Through 2 periods, Boston had attempted 8 shots on goal. Those are not shots on goal. Those are attempts at shots on goal. In fact, through 2 periods at 5-on-5, they only had 4 shots on goal. 40 minutes of hockey, of which 27 was played at 5-on-5. They mustered all of 8 shot attempts. That is the domination that we saw last night. When I said earlier that 8-2 was deceptive, I didn't mean it was closer than you might think. I thought 8-2, that was about as good as Boston could have hoped for, that final score. We could have been, because honestly, both goals should not have gone in. Boston should have had zilch. Hurricanes could have had 10. That could have been a 10-11-0 game. Easy. That's how one-sided it was. All right, the Jets won. Who cares? All right, let's move on to the Panthers. Brad Idzik on what he thought about Bryce Young throwing the ball deep last week.
He had a couple that were right there, and you know it's a team effort, right? Just trying to hone in on, okay, where could I have kept my speed a little bit more as a wide out, or make the read as clear as possible from a coaching perspective to make sure that we're getting that ball out on time. But I thought he did a good job of driving the ball downfield when we asked him to.
I noticed there maybe a little shot at Xavier Liggett.
Yeah.
Could have used better.
Maybe.
Could have used better. I hope they just treat him like a real quarterback this week, even if he isn't. Pretend. Just pretend. It's not. You can't lose any worse. I watched them lose in Washington. You can't lose any worse than that.
No.
Not even a chance. You can lose worse than that.
It's no pretty loss.
No. Look, there were some losses this year that I wasn't upset about.
No.
Right?
Where they were actually close and competitive.
Well, they looked
even
like
against the Bengals.
Yeah, that wasn't a terrible loss. Mm-mm. I thought the loss to Atlanta wasn't a terrible loss.
Yeah.
So, but the loss in Washington, that was a bad one.
Yeah.
Dave Doran, you've had a bye week. During that bye week, your intended starting quarterback, Grayson McCall, announced his retirement from football because of concussions. Now, it's C.J. Bailey's team, right?
You know, he's got a childish enthusiasm about just being out on the field with a ball, and at the same time, he's got a professional competitive spirit. Like, he plays hard, and he wants his guys around him to play hard, and he's not afraid to call a guy out there. Like, you got to go full speed right here, man. I need a better picture of that play. And he gives that. And so it's natural. You know, he's not a nervous guy. He just goes out and plays. He loves playing. He's been competing in this sport against good people a long time. As a guy that played on offense in college, I would have loved to have played football with him. I mean, just being in the huddle with a guy like that, that's what you want, you know, as a teammate.
A lot of positive things from Dave Doran from a leadership standpoint. Look forward to watching C.J. Bailey the rest of the season. All right, when we come back in the roundtable, 2 of our absolute favorites, Randy Slack from the beach, Jeremy Greene from the mountains. We'll find out how everybody is first, and then we'll talk football next.
Serving it up hot and fresh every day. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
We're kicking it this fall with college football. Join 99.9 The Fan all season long and catch your favorite teams in action. The ACC, the SEC, and every conference that matters. You'll find the best matchups here.
Jordan Moore delivers, and the Blue Devils have the lead.
College football on 99.9 The Fan is brought to you by Wilkinson Chevrolet Cadillac Buick GMC in Sanford and by Amedios.
Adam Gold in studio with my man Sammy Hanna, owner-operator of the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. I tell people this all the time. If I am doing a commercial for somebody, I am vouching for who they are and what they do. You guys do great work, but your customer service stands above all the great work that you do.
Adam, I truly appreciate that testimonial. And yeah, we try to take pride in our customer service and meet and exceed our homeowners' expectations on all their home improvement needs. Obviously, there's many companies out there that do what we do. If you Google home improvements, Raleigh, you're going to get many, many companies. But you're not going to find too many companies out there that have a 4.9 rating and over 800 Google reviews and over 7,000 Guild quality reviews. It takes a lot of work on our part to make sure we meet and exceed all your expectations on customer service. And we're going to continue to do so because that's why we've been in business since 1961.
I have used the Aluminum Company. I have not heard anyone that had anything but incredible things to say about all of you, and that is amazing. That's a testimony to how you guys do it. Aluminum Company of North Carolina, aluminumcompany.com.
Martha was ready to switch to a career in IT.
There's always a need for IT specialists, especially with AI coming out and cybersecurity. It's practically recession-proof.
My Computer Career even provides job placement help.
The career specialists, they're very helpful. They care about you as a person. You're not just a number to them. I would recommend My Computer Career wholeheartedly to anyone.
Take the free career evaluation today. Become an IT pro in just months with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu.
$5, that's a deal, yeah. McDonald's money, I got McDonald's money. One meal just to make me feel better. All I wanna know is, can I get a hot and spicy patty, the McNuggets so crisp, and the fries go to yellow, yeah, McDonald's don't miss, yeah. Order on the app or the drive-thru quick, yeah. $5, that's some deal, yeah. McDonald's money, I got McDonald's money.
At participating McDonald's. Kamala backed Biden on everything. She was the deciding vote for his disastrous economic agenda. Kamala and Joe raised taxes on the middle class, and prices soared. Kamala was in charge of his open border policies, giving welfare to illegals while Americans struggle. And their weakness invited wars. Now Kamala wants to double down on failure. It's time to turn the page on Joe and Kamala's failed agenda. President Trump fights for you. His strength kept us safe. Trump cut taxes for families. Prices were lower and the border secure. Now, President Trump can do it again.
And we are going to launch a new golden age of American success for the citizens of every race, religion, color, and creed.
Remember, Kamala broke it. President Trump will fix it.
I'm Donald Trump, candidate for president, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Donald J. Trump for President 2024.
Adam Gold here from my friend Dr. Lori Travers at Travers LASIK, and twice in the last week, people have asked me about my experience at Travers LASIK, and I have said, well, if you want 20/20 vision and you want to get rid of glasses and contacts, I think it's a great idea. 919-510-6830, traverslasik.com. 2-year, zero-interest financing is available, about 5 minutes per eye, totally painless. 919-510-6830, Travers LASIK, see what you've been missing.
This is Adam Gold.
Yeah, but he's real patient, like he
Right.
said in his interview
Well,
today.
in all other aspects of life.
Yes.
If he's in line at the drive-thru and it's taking a long time, he will not ram the car in front of him.
Exactly. Someone's pressing his shirt. He will wait 30 seconds for it to be crisper.
The Adam Gold Show.
Ariana Grande Is this in honor of Wicked? Isn't she in Wicked?
Potentially. I don't know. Maybe.
I have no idea.
Maybe.
I don't know. I saw her on Saturday Night Live. Was it last week, the week before?
Uh-huh.
They treated the entire thing like a Broadway show. It was funny.
Oh, nice.
But it was just her singing.
Right.
It's
Right.
great. And she's a phenomenal actress. I don't know. What was that show?
I mean, she started, didn't she? Wasn't she one of those Disney people that
she
started
was on one
from
of those
that?
shows.
Yeah. So there you go.
I don't.
I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't remember
They
what
don't
show
do
it was.
Mickey Mouse Club anymore, so I don't know.
She was, she was on a show. All right, it is time. It is Friday. It is this segment of the show. It is time for our friends.
Camelot. It's only a model.
Great panel for you today. We start at the coast. Randy Slack, ESPN Wilmington, at rslack37, because he's a huge Andrei Svechnikov fan. And Jeremy Greene from ESPN Asheville, at ESPN Draft Nerd on Twitter. Before we start talking about football, real life, Jeremy, last time we spoke with you, you were hanging out at your parents' farm, which had been spared from Hurricane Helene. So give me an update on what the day-to-day is up in your neck of the woods.
It's still tough. We've still got we're getting by day. You know, we were in Charlotte with Luke Combs for the concert for Carolinas. That was a sight to behold.
Yeah.
The number of people that have stepped up to show up here. And we've had power crews from Canada. We've had logging companies from West Virginia. It's just been a sight to behold watching people come together to try to get the community back. And it's not normal by any stretch.
Right.
But it's getting better. And that's all we could really ask for.
All right. It's obviously still not recognizable to those of you who live there. But what are the roads like? How many roads are still impassable?
You've got some that are on they're more side streets. You've obviously got the issues out on 40 going into Tennessee.
Right.
In terms of the day-to-day, most of the roads, at least the ones that I travel on, I live on the north side.
Okay.
So I don't really see as much of that anymore. There's still some tough roads up by past my parents' house. But for the most part, the roads are getting closer to where they're supposed to be. Most people have power. Most people have water. The water's still not drinkable,
right?
Which is it's weird when you flush your toilet and it comes up not watercolor. That's bizarre, and you don't really ever get used to that. It still catches me, and we've been doing this for 3 weeks now.
Our last one about this. I mean, I could talk to you about this for 20 minutes, but last one about this. What about how many businesses are still not open? I'm going to guess most, but what is there for that would help you lead just anything resembling a normal life?
Most of the businesses are open outside of individual areas. Biltmore Village was, in terms of businesses, that was one of the worst spots. So they're all still closed. But we've got restaurants that are coming back open. I've been able to go to a couple bars to feel a little normal.
Okay.
I stopped and got a quarter pounder the other day.
Look at you.
They did give me a water because we can't make soda or sweet
Right.
tea. I would give $500 for a gallon of Bojangles sweet tea right now.
All right, now I know.
I'm going down the mountain this weekend. My best friend lives at Clemson, and we're going to hit that up, and I'm going to drink my weight in sweet tea.
I've got like 5 half gallons of sweet tea in our garage refrigerator because I can't stand it. So
sweet tea is one of those things when I've left. I mean, I've traveled all over the country, and I go to places that don't have sweet tea, and within 2 or 3 days, I'm going, I need a fix, and we're on like week 5.
Gosh, all right.
It's just one of those first world problems. We've got people going through so much bad stuff. But and then I'll get off this topic, I promise. We've had so many people that have done so many good things. Business owners. Ben Johnson of the Detroit Lions just sent a tractor trailer load of materials here from Detroit. He went to AC Reynolds here in Asheville, and he's done great things. Luke Combs, the Teppers, Victoria and I were talking last night of the behind the scenes of what David Tepper and his wife did for that concert. He bought all the parking places. Not a lot of people know that. He bought everything. If it was bought, he paid it.
Yep.
And then when somebody paid for the space or paid for the beer or paid for the hot dog, that money went straight up the mountain to great charities up here. And I just want to send a really big thank you to David Tepper and his wife and the Panthers and Luke Combs and Eric Church.
Final thing I'll say, and then we're going to pretend that Randy is part of this conversation too, is that it is very possible, because I had this presented to me today. It is very possible to be a terrible owner of a franchise, but at the same time be a quality human being. And David Tepper's generosity and his he may be thin-skinned as an owner and all of that, but his generosity and his humanity as a human being have definitely come through. So it's way more important to use your status and wealth for that than it is to be a good owner of a professional franchise. If we ever marry the two, that would be fantastic, because I think Panthers fans would like it. So we should start with the Carolina Panthers. Hi, Randy Slack.
Hey, how's it going? Real quick, Jeremy, you mentioned the tea. We have a list. We're doing a coat drive and supplies for people up in the western part of the state. We were told that toiletries were the number one thing you guys needed. If it is Bojangles sweet tea, we can make that happen. If you really want that stuff, we'll get it up there to you guys.
Yeah.
Toiletries, diapers. You and we've got each other's contact. We'll link up after the show, and I'll see what help I can be there. And we appreciate you greatly.
And I'll send the 5 half gallons of sweet tea we still have in our garage refrigerator. All right, let's start with the Carolina Panthers. Bryce Young is going to play on Sunday. He's going to start against the Saints. So I'll start with you, Randy. What do you want to see from Bryce Young?
Anything. Literally just trying. Maybe getting to the line of scrimmage with any sort of time left on the clock. Like, just running this. It's so frustrating to see this team just feel like they're handicapped all the time on offense. I'm not asking for them to score a bunch of points, but my goodness, it would be great to just see more than one drive of being like, oh, hey, look, maybe this guy could do something one day. It's scary to look at their schedule and think after the next 2 weeks, the schedule for them gets hard. So I'm a little nervous.
All right, so I'm gonna reframe this for you, Jeremy, because I just don't feel like Dave Canales tried real hard last week. How would you approach Bryce and play calling this week?
Well, the potential of Jonathan Brooks coming back is going to help, because Chuba Hubbard's a good between the tackles running back. He doesn't offer a lot in terms of help to a quarterback because he's not a good blocker. He's not really a good pass catcher. And so I always kind of felt like the way the Panthers roster was built, it was not advantageous for a young quarterback. And it wasn't shocking to me when a veteran quarterback came in and could mitigate those things a little bit better. In terms of the scheme, I'm looking at Jonathan Mingo and Xavier Legette and Coker, these young guys. I want to see him develop a rapport with those guys. That's what's going to be here for the long haul. And I know Panther fans don't want to hear this. This draft is historically bad at quarterback. I don't think you're going to have a solution coming. I could be wrong. There's one that I feel okay about, and one I have a feeling his daddy is going to say he can't play in Carolina.
Oh, wow.
So you can deduce who that is.
Yeah.
But I think you have to look at Bryce Young as, at the very least, he's going to be on this roster, maybe with some competition. So I go back to I've taught 3 kids to ride a bicycle. The training wheels are obviously going to be on, and I'm not going to let go. I just need to make sure you can get on the bicycle and understand that you need to be facing the handlebars and not facing behind them. Because you seem to be struggling with that at times.
All right, so here's where I want to go now with this. Because I believe that we have to get rid of the training wheels. I believe I don't care if he's unsuccessful. What we saw last week in trying to manage the game for Bryce and give him stuff he is, and I'm using air quotes here, comfortable with, didn't work. It made your offense look absolutely dysfunctional and impossible to implement. You weren't going to pick up a first down doing what they were doing. The successful plays gained a yard, so there was just nowhere to go. The first drive looked normal because they just acted like a normal football team. The first drive looked right. I thought there were plays that they could have made down the field later in the game. I think Xavier Leggett didn't try to catch that go route down the left sideline. I thought it was a little overthrown, but it wasn't gross. I've seen Garrett Wilson would have tried to catch it. So I want to see him just play normal offense. And if Bryce ain't good at it, then Bryce ain't good at it. But try. I also want to see him roll out. So back to you with this, Jeremy. Does that make any sense to you?
It does. The problem I've had with the way they've treated Bryce Young is that it almost feels like you believe in him so little that you don't want to give him anything. And there are some guys that you got to build the confidence up. And giving him, you got to understand, or at least from my perspective, you got to look at his subconscious here. Of Andy Dalton is, from a sheer talent standpoint, 20% of what Bryce Young is. But then he looks at what Andy Dalton gets and what they put on his plate.
Right.
And it's so much more significant than what they gave Bryce. And you look at your boss and go, you just don't believe in me in any way. And so I think he's slightly broken in his head. The way to do that is stop trying to make him Baker Mayfield. I understand you were successful with Baker. I understand you were successful with Geno Smith. He's not either of those guys. He is, I believe, can be a good starting quarterback in the NFL. I've never wavered on that.
Yep.
He just wasn't as close as we thought he was.
No, he ends up being a project. Randy, based on the way Jeremy started that response, it sounded to me like he was getting to where I am. I don't know if you pay attention at all when my show airs on ESPN Wilmington. I'm sure you're napping. You might nap to the show for all I know. But I have contended that Dave Canales acts like somebody who's been out to prove that Bryce can't play, not that he could. And the way they have treated this past game last week was, we're going to show that he can't play in the league. Is that tinfoil hat stuff?
No, I wonder, did they hire Dave Canales to do? Because I thought that they were bringing in a quarterback coach specifically to make the quarterback they took, the investment they took, to make it worthwhile. It feels like to me that's not what Dave Canales is trying to do, which, by the way, if the guy stinks, then the guy stinks.
Right.
But they didn't play him in the preseason. They're like, oh, no, he's the starter, and then immediately he's not. And then Andy has a terrible game, and it takes a literal car wreck, not one on the field, but one on the actual roads for this to be like, okay, let's give this guy another shot. Like, why did you hire Dave Canales if you weren't going to – if it wasn't to make Bryce better? Because if it wasn't for that, then why didn't you hire a Mike Vrabel or somebody else? You hired a quarterback guy to fix the quarterback, and he doesn't want to fix the quarterback that you have.
Yeah, I mean that's the way I have looked at it. So is there hope at all for let me just fold it into this. How many guys on their roster would you consider trading right now?
I assume you're asking me.
Yes.
I wouldn't trade anybody because I don't think there's anybody on this roster really worth trading. Like maybe if you can get something from Miles Sanders, but I just don't see the long-term benefit. I don't see anybody on this roster that an actual contending team would go, man, I need to get that guy on my team. Like who is that guy? Johnny Hecker? Like who are you getting off of the Carolina Panthers to make your playoff team better?
Hecker is a worse
there's nobody
quarterback.
out there.
Yeah, Hecker's a worse passer than Bryce. The only guy who could honestly bring you something would be J.C. Horn. I would consider trading him personally because I don't think Horn is one of those cornerbacks, but I think he could help a team, a contending team, as a second corner. Jeremy, would you trade J.C.?
I would, but I would know if I'm Dan Morgan that he's probably going to go to a good team, and the one that I'm specifically thinking of is Denver as their 2, and he's going to look really good, and it's going to make you look really bad. The one that I would – Jadeveon Clowney won't be on this team by 5 o'clock on Tuesday. I have a funny feeling he's going to be a Detroit Lion because they want any pass rusher, and there are still about 8 people in this world that believe Jadeveon Clowney is one of those because he once killed a running back at Michigan like what feels like 25 years ago.
Right, that wasn't there was no blocking on that play. It's a great play.
It's really not that hard to obliterate somebody if the entire offensive line goes, don't touch him. That could have made me look like an elite pass rusher, and if I played with 4-year-olds, that's probably how it would look, but I digress. He's the only one I see that I think has value, and when I say value, I'm talking conditional 6th-round pick.
Right.
But, I mean, I want to see young guys because I adhere to the Brad Holmes theory that I've watched Detroit, which is every year I've got to find 15 new guys that play a role. In Carolina, I currently see about 6 that I feel like would play the role they're currently in on a good team.
Mm-hmm.
Jalen Coker is getting closer to that for me because I think he actually is pretty good.
Yeah, I like Jalen Coker.
Yeah.
And
He made the catch Xavier Legette wouldn't try.
And then you go down the rabbit hole with Jonathan Brooks and trying to get something out of DJ Johnson. And if you can just start filling holes and then go into the offseason with the mindset of we've got dollars that we're going to go get guys, we know what they are, and then we're going to do it again with another draft class. That's how you come out of this. The good thing is Atlanta's on about a 2-year window. Tampa Bay's window, I feel like, has been painted shut, but I also said that 2 years ago.
Right.
And New Orleans is, without a doubt, the most hopeless franchise in the NFL. So it's not like the competition's going to get that much better over the next handful of years.
All right, we're going to close on this. And by the way, if I were the Panthers, I would not be drafting a quarterback in this draft. If I had the first pick, I would take Travis Hunter twice.
Yes. I agree with you wholeheartedly. If you take a quarterback in this class, you did it wrong.
Yeah, but that would be on brand for the Panthers. All right, Randy Slack, ESPN Wilmington at rslack37. I am asking you this question, but it really is for both of you. The Cincinnati Bengals are 3-5. The New York Jets are 3-6. It's perfect. We have a Bengals fan and a Jets fan here today. It's just perfect. Which of those two teams is more likely to be in the playoffs?
The team most likely to be in the playoffs of those two is the Jets because the Bengals have to play Baltimore again. They have to play Pittsburgh twice. Cleveland now has a quarterback, so they're going to be decent. Also, the Bengals can't get out of their own way. They're convinced that they're a good team, even though we're halfway through the season and they're 3-5. If you're a good team, then you would be a good team. It's fitting that them and the Cowboys are playing in that Simpsons game because both of those teams are absolutely cartoons, and it's just going to be miserable. So, yeah, I'm going with the Jets.
That is. You've watched the Jets, right?
Yeah, you know the Bengals are 1-6 without, or I'm sorry, now 1-7 without T. Higgins, and he's questionable. And this is maybe one of the only games they could potentially win. And honestly, I'm not sure if they will. So
I think if
have you watched the Bengals?
I have. I have.
They're unbelievably maddening.
Just good enough to lose. If the Bengals and Jets played on a neutral field, I think the Bengals would be a touchdown favorite. Jeremy, what is the correct answer to that question? Randy, you're probably right. 3-6 Jets, 3-5 Bengals. Who's more likely to make the playoffs?
I do love that Randy gave the contrite answer and said my team, and I will respond in kind by giving the correct answer, which is also my team. Because unlike the Bengals, the Jets, I think, play a cooking school. I think there's a Girl Scout troop. There may be a group of nuns on their schedule. I've never in my life seen an NFL team play a MAC schedule, but the Jets somehow get to do that.
Yep.
I'll also tell you a little tidbit that I did not know until this morning. The last 5 years, a team that started 3-6 has made the playoffs every single year, and the Jets are going to make it 6.
All right.
They will be the 7th playoff team in the AFC, mainly because the AFC is bad.
It's funny. I actually think I'm not sure the best teams aren't in the AFC. Johnson and Wales is next on the Jets schedule. It's strangely enough at Arizona, home against the Colts, the bye week. Here's the thing. I think the Jets are bad. I think the Jets are fundamentally, incredibly flawed, really on both sides of the ball. I think the Bengals are a better team, but I think you might both be right. But I think the answer really is neither. I don't think either team will be in the playoffs. I think the Jets finish.
By the way,
what?
Wilson was out of bounds. Like, the shin's not a body part. His knee fell out of bounds. The catch.
The shin is a body part.
Okay, so if his heel hits and then his foot hits, that counts as a foot. That's out of bounds. If your shin doesn't have a joint, your knee hits, that's part of the leg, you're out of bounds. Like, that's how that works.
Here's a better one for you, Randy. Here's a better one for you. I know you're a comedian, so work with me on this. Let's just say you're a wide receiver and you only had 1 foot.
Okay.
Could you catch the ball in the middle of the field and hop?
George Pickens couldn't.
Right, so you couldn't.
He landed twice.
You can never be in bounds. You just have to fall onto the ground.
If you fall on your butt, you do. If your knee hits, you do. His knee landed out of bounds. You don't bend at the middle of your shin unless it's like Sid Vicious in that one pay-per-view from like the 1990s. But
talk to me about Joe Theismann right now. Talk to me about Joe Theismann.
I'm glad they called it, but he was out of bounds.
And Adam, you were talking about the Jets. The Jets are like you built a zoo and you have 53 of the most beautiful cats in the world, and they're so talented and they do all of the things you could ever want. And you got the trainer on Craigslist, and he didn't have any of the qualifications that you thought he did.
That is Aaron Rodgers
I love
right
the
now.
Talent of this team. But, man, they are badly coached.
They are horribly coached. They really are horribly coached. It became very obvious. Randy Slack and Jeremy Greene. Guys, I appreciate your time. Jeremy, best of luck with everything. Hit us up, all right?
Thank you, guys.
Hey, thank you very much. That's Randy Slack at rslack37. Jeremy Greene at ESPN Draft Nerd here on the Adam Gold Show. It was always going to go weird. All right, let's stretch. No, we've already stretched, haven't we?
We have.
Victoria?
We're
What's the
up.
format of the rest of the show?
It's a Friday.
What do we do? When we come back, we'll make football picks. I don't know. Next.
Raleigh to Boone, Charlotte to Chapel Hill. Your Carolina is covered. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Oh, the NBA is back, and FanDuel is America's #1 sports book for a reason, because they want you to catch all the action. And right now, FanDuel giving everyone 3 months of NBA League Pass. All you got to do to catch every tip-off, every buzzer beater, every dunk is place any $5 wager on the NBA and get 3 months of NBA League Pass, courtesy of FanDuel and me. FanDuel.com/AGS. Make every moment more this season with FanDuel. FanDuel.com/AGS. FanDuel is an official sportsbook partner of the NBA.
21 and over and present in North Carolina. After a 3-month free trial, the full price of League Pass will be automatically charged monthly. Cancel anytime. No refunds. Terms, restrictions, and embargoes apply. Limit 1 pass per customer. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
As fall championships begin, the Governor's Highway Safety Program would like to remind you to buckle your seatbelt when traveling home from today's events. Whether you're driving out of town or across town this holiday season, wearing a seatbelt is your best defense against injury or death in a crash. During the busiest time of travel, prioritize your safety and buckle up. Every seat, every time. And remember, click it or ticket. It's the law. This message brought to you by the North Carolina High School Athletic Association and the Governor's Highway Safety Program.
The North Carolina Healthcare Association invites you to listen to this month's podcast, Conversations on the State of Healthcare. This month, we are diving into a topic that is important to so many of us, the health insurance open enrollment period. In our latest episode, produced in partnership with the North Carolina Healthcare Association, we speak with Megan Brohl, a consultant with the Marsh McLennan Agency, an NCHA partner providing business employee health and benefits, and a graduate of Coastal Carolina University. She explains some of the things to consider when opting in for insurance coverage.
Really looking at the information, comparing the plans, not just the premiums, but what's the coverage, and making that best decision for you, your family, what's going to be best in the future if you have things that are coming up, and really considering all factors when you're looking at your coverage.
You can learn more and join our latest conversation on the state of healthcare wherever you find your favorite podcasts, and learn more by visiting nchealthcare.org.
Did you know Atlantic hurricane season runs through November? From gathering necessary supplies to planning an evacuation route, now is the time to make sure you and your family are prepared. And if a storm damages our electric system, local public power providers are ready to respond and restore power quickly and safely. As a public power customer, you benefit from having an electricity provider that restores power faster than other providers do. Visit electricities.com for storm preparation tips and resources.
NC Medicaid is for people just like me.
Adults who don't have children.
People who serve.
People who do the heavy lifting.
Child care teachers. Full healthcare coverage at low or no cost.
Doctor's visits, emergency rooms, and prescriptions.
So if you applied before and didn't get it, apply again.
NC Medicaid covers more people than ever before.
Get full healthcare coverage at low cost, no monthly fees, and $4 max copays. NC Medicaid is for more people. See if you qualify at medicaid.nc.gov.
Psst. Hello there. It's me, your internal clock. Yes, the one you sleep through on weekends. You've probably heard my TikToks, but I'm straight up sounding the bell now. It's almost time to start applying for college. That means you got transcripts to gather, letters of rec to request, and campus tours to schedule. But hey, we've got time, and we've got CFNC. CFNC.org can help us plan, apply, and pay for college. We got this, trust me. Just visit CFNC.org to help us stay on time.
This is Adam Gold.
What, a minute 53 into the game? Heat of the moment?
Right.
What kind of heat of the moment is that? We haven't even gotten to simmer yet.
I know. Did someone flip him off in the parking lot? Like, what are we
seriously.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I'm Adam Gold, Victoria, producing the program. Welcome to your weekend, man.
I know, right?
Yeah. Started with a 10 o'clock p.m. hockey game on Monday.
Yep.
And Hurricanes have played great. 5 straight wins, 7 of 8, 7-2. Sunday against 7-2 Washington at Lenovo Center should be an absolute banger of a game. This Washington team is good. They are fun. They score. And they've scored a few more goals than the Hurricanes. Hurricanes have had no problem scoring.
Yeah.
For all of the, who's going to score the goals? Hurricanes are scoring plenty of goals. So they're averaging 3.5 goals a game, roughly.
Yeah.
I mean, they're heck, if you average 3.5 goals a game,
that's great.
You're top 10 in the league in offense. Power play has been good. I think they could be better at 5-on-5 in terms of producing goals. You're not going to score as many power play goals as they have on average over the course of the year. Nobody's power play is this good. Mm-hmm. Hurricanes were 6 of their last 21 before last night. They were 3 for 5 last night. If you think about it, they were really 4 out of 6 because the first goal was scored during a delayed penalty call when Roslovic scored on the pass from Aho. I forget who was going to the box, but Boston was about to be shorthanded. And so that's 4 of 8 goals with an extra man on the ice.
Right.
I mean, Carolina's got some room to grow 5-on-5. We are 9 games in. Sebastian Aho does not have a 5-on-5 goal. Not for a lack of trying. He had plenty of opportunities to score last night, and maybe he was trying not to. I don't know. But he had 2 in the first 3 minutes. It's for each of his first 2 shifts. He had grade A scoring chances that he did not convert. So Carolina's pretty doggone good. As a matter of fact, it leads us to what?
I was going to say, I keep forgetting to mention, too, if you want to watch the other Carolina team with me, I'll be at the Garner Carolina Ale House this weekend for the watch party.
Oh, so. Right. Look at that.
I know.
How come I didn't know about this?
I forgot to tell you. So, yeah, if you want to watch in misery with
1
me.
o'clock.
Yes.
1 o'clock game Sunday at home against the Nolan Saints.
Yes.
Victoria will be there.
And we can
agonize
together. Exactly.
There you go. Well, all right, let's do a quick rewind here. So I wanted to talk about this anyway, so let's let John Forsland, the voice of hockey, start us off. He does Seattle Kraken games. He also works for TNT. And he does the Monday night game on Prime in Canada. So I asked John, month of October is now behind us. Biggest surprise in the NHL?
Oh, boy. Positive story, negative story?
Positive story. The negative story I think I watched yesterday.
Well, the positive story for me will hit everybody in a warm place there because the most impressive team I've seen so far are the Carolina Hurricanes.
Oi.
And I'm surprised. I thought that, like many, that they'd take a step back maybe. Long road trip, and I saw a team come in, and we talked about their mindset at the start of the season, you and I, that they had to be a little bit more or less arrogant about how good they are and more workmanlike. And it appears that's what they're getting to. I know the power play carried them again last night, which is good, but they're relentless with their skating game again. They totally dominated the Kraken last weekend. It wasn't even close. So for me, they're off to a really good start. Long way to go, obviously, but you win 7 out of 9 and you do most of that on the road. That's pretty good.
So first of all, that did surprise me that's what John chose. And I actually, when we were done, I texted him. I said, I hope you don't feel obligated to talk up the Hurricanes because this is the team I cover, blah, blah, blah. And he said, no, totally honest. They've been impressive. It's interesting. I have a couple of things to say about this because last year was supposed to be the closing of the window. That was the window. This was the year to go for it. Teuvo Teravainen likely going to walk out the door. Brett Pesce, Steph Nason, Brady Shea, all these guys that were done. And that was where you have to go for it. So you go get Jake Gensel. And I asked Martinook about this yesterday because other than the game against Tampa that opened the season, which was basically 2 teams playing poorly, Tampa wasn't any good in that game either. Other than that game, the Hurricanes have been on top of it for now 8 in a row. They lost the game in St. Louis, but they've won all the others. And I asked Martinook why that is, and he said, well, maybe that, guys had gotten a little used to it here, so it became comfortable. He said, this year we've got some new blood that understand this is how it's done, so it's new to them, so they're trying to do exactly what they're supposed to do. And what that has created is a sense that everybody's doing it. And for me last night, it's going to sound weird. They did not score a 5-on-5 goal, technically, because the first Aho to Roslovic goal was at 6-on-5 because the goalie was out for the delayed penalty. That and the fourth line. The Aho line and the Drury line were Carolina's two most effective lines at 5-on-5. Now, the Aho line, I don't believe, scored at 5-on-5. The 5-on-5 goals came when the Drury line was on the ice, the Stahl line was on the ice, and I'm not sure the Kokoniemi line was on the ice. But in terms of how it's supposed to look, making life difficult for Boston, the Aho line was tremendous, as was the Drury line. Those, to me, were the two most effective lines last night. But the way they are playing, it just creates so many chances. It created two great A's in the first two shifts for Sebastian Aho that he just failed to finish. One was a pass from Roslovic to the front, to the doorstep. He just redirected it wide. The other was a turnover that turned into a mini breakaway from Aho down the left side, and Jeremy Swayman gloved it down. Incredible opportunities. Aho's going to score plenty of goals. He's on a point a game without being on top of his offensive game. But all the other elements have been there for Aho, in my opinion. I've loved the way that line has played now with Roslovic on it, but I thought they played well when Seth Jarvis was on it. The other thing about the game last night, and I did have people comment to me about the Jordan Martinook play behind the net, which I talked about earlier. To me, that was the play of the game. But the moment of the game, the place where I believe Carolina won the game, it's 1-0 Hurricanes, and all of a sudden, middle of the period, there's 5.5 consecutive minutes of Boston power play. Kokoniemi takes a double minor. Carolina kills off the first almost 3 minutes of it. Jalen Chatfield is called for interference with just over a minute something remaining in the second minor penalty. So Carolina's got to kill 40 some odd seconds of 5-on-3. And they do a pretty good job. And then Boston gets a lucky break. Brad Marchand throws it off of the leg of Jacob Slavin and it goes in. So they start play again. Boston still has a 5-on-4, and Rod is wearing out the official because he didn't like the penalty on Chatfield. And he gets a bench minor. Carolina goes right back to 5-on-3. They kill that. Pyotr Kochetkov makes one good save on Pasternak. And then they kill the rest of the penalty. So 5 minutes and 31 seconds of power play time, including just about 2 minutes of 5-on-3 time, generated one fluke goal. Wasn't even a shot. It was a goal, but it wasn't really a shot. And I thought at that point, the Hurricanes knew that they were going to blow Boston out. They scored 3 goals in a 52-second span late in the first period, and this sucker was over. The goals came so fast, Mike Maniscalco couldn't even catch up. It was an awesome, awesome performance last night. That's the way they are playing. Hurricanes fans, I think, are going to have a pretty good winter. Victoria, thank you. Good luck.
Raleigh to Boone, Charlotte to Chapel Hill. Your Carolina is covered. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
It's bow time. It's not just football season. It's tailgate season. And that includes every kind of football, whether it's got goalkeepers or goalposts. The kick is good! Because it doesn't matter where or how you tailgate. When you've got crispy chicken and fluffy buttermilk biscuits from Bojangles, your tailgate is better than great. It's legendary. Head to Bojangles and order your tailgate box with boldly seasoned chicken